What's up, guys?
What's
Welcome
going
to
on?
Saturday Night Sports. I'm your host with my co-host, Albatross, like always.
What's going on?
What's going on, man? How are you tonight?
Feeling good. Feeling good. Cyclones pulled out the victory. Feeling well. Feeling well.
Yeah, not saying that I could feel the same wonderful joy from college, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
You're right.
So, right off the bat, interesting week of sports.
Yes.
It's been good. It's been good. I like the ups and downs, whether it be the MLB, going from the wild card to the divisional round, seeing how all that's been, transpiring, or you have a week 4 in the NFL, NBA finals. Obviously, we got some college to talk about. Like, there's so much going on. And then, of course, I love talking about my Dolphins team. We'll get to them and those 49ers here eventually too, but I'm not really in any sort of emotion whatsoever over them this week. I'm just kind of keeping it even keel because we're coming out with an L tomorrow. Anywho, let's moving right along.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay. Right into things here.
MLB playoffs.
So, what have you thought about the playoffs so far?
Well, I mean, we've had some interesting victories come out of some interesting teams. You had the Marlins upset the Cubs. You had the Astros, who are the 6th seed, playing extremely well. On top of that, the NL side of things, you have the 2 best seeds, with the Dodgers number 1 seed and the Braves number 2. They're both right where they should be according to seeding. Both teams are strong. I think both teams are going to play well. Both did in their NLDS matchups. Obviously, one came out and swept. The other one took care of business. They both took care of business. There was no questions that they were the better team.
Right.
The Rays had a really interesting series against the Yankees. I think that one was probably the most interesting. The Astros took care of business against a team they know very well in the Athletics. So that was kind of no surprise there for me.
Right. Yeah. I've enjoyed it a lot, so I would definitely think it's been an interesting playoffs. I think the biggest thing coming in was, can the Houston Astros still maintain, their top level of play after the scandal? Obviously, we saw the Red Sox kind of fall off this year. The Yankees are right back where they were supposed to be. Certain things of that. We had other teams come out who we don't see every year. The Braves, the Marlins, teams like that. I think it's been a good postseason, even through all the COVID. So
Yep.
let's just get right along. Let's get right into the first matchup. It sucks. Really didn't want to see it. I was hoping that we're going to make a series of it, but I think from what I've seen, and I'm sure from what you've seen and what you understand of the series, the pitching, the injuries to that staff is really what hurt the Padres in this series.
Oh, yeah. I think you saw a bullpen, a pitching staff that was overworked to get to that point.
Yep.
But I think at the same time, when you compare the two, you look at the Dodgers, they brought in Mookie Betts. They've used the dollar bill to get them where they're at. Whereas the Padres have been more methodical, used the farm system. This is a farm system. It was a farm system team versus a money team. No surprise the money team came out on top. They're right where they should be. I have probably no doubt we'll probably see the Dodgers probably in the
World Series again. Oh, yeah.
I could see that happening. It's not that far-fetched, but don't count out the Braves. The Braves are a very strong team. They have a good pitching staff. I think they can handle themselves. They're definitely in a little more of a healthy situation, per se, than the Padres.
Right. So. If you can turn up your mic at all, Jonah said it's kind of hard to hear you a little bit, so I'm just going to throw that out there. Got to keep things technically sound as much as we can.
We're trying.
Right, we're trying. But other than that, everything seems to be in order. But yeah, I mean, that was the biggest thing. It's terrible. I mean, I hate that the Padres couldn't even come in and grab one game of the series. Like, I was really hopeful with the offense, bringing in Myers, things of that such, the way Tatis Jr., has emerged,
Right.
things like that. I expected them to, give the Dodgers some fits, and we just didn't see it yet. But I'm hoping, like we discussed and we have discussed, is I hope we see the growth. I hope the San Diego Padres get that growth.
Yes.
They're really look to be like a good, young, talented team with a lot of dynamic to them. If they stay healthy and maybe bring in, if you're going to bring in things in free agency, would you say the biggest things in free agency to bring in would be maybe add to the pitching staff per se instead of the bats?
Oh, definitely. I think the pitching staff, you just need that ace, that number one guy that you can count on. And
Right.
that is the difference between a solid pitching rotation and a pitching rotation that's just kind of getting by. So I think right now they should, whatever money they have, I'm not really sure, numbers wise what they have room for.
We'll come back to that at a later time in the offseason.
Right. I think the Padres do need to focus on pitching. You have a good closer. You have a good bullpen. Just shore up your starting pitching. You shore that up, and I don't think we're that far-fetched from saying we should see maybe Dodgers, Padres, NLCS, not an NLDS matchup.
Maybe. I think that'd be fun. I mean, especially after having this, if you have that next year or maybe in 2 years, so to speak, just this history going towards it, that'd be a fun series.
Oh, yeah. And they're already division rivals, so it adds to the intensity.
Just adds to it instantly. Oh, yeah. That's how I felt anytime Arizona would play the Dodgers or we'd play the Rockies. I'm just like, great, division rivalry. This is going to be trash. Oh. So, unfortunately, we got one sweep. Well, we're going to move right into another sweep. The poor Marlins. I'm glad they made it in there. And if I remember correctly, from what I do know, isn't Derek Jeter still in that front office?
Yes, he is.
He's still a huge part of that. And I thought when they got him down there, I'm like, okay, the Marlins are doing something right. They're building right, and you're starting to see it.
Yep. Well, they got rid of the big stars, and especially after the death of the pitcher, that death in that organization sent that organization in a totally different direction.
Oh, yeah,
really changed the culture. When you ship out Giancarlo Stanton, that's a statement.
Right.
We're changing stuff. They sent him to the Yankees. We know where he's at, and he's still doing what he did done for the Marlins. So, I think the Marlins are a strong team. I think they were opportunistic. They met a Braves team who is further along, and again was a farm team 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and made it into the playoffs and kind of made some noise and then got beat up. So this is a team who's been through that, what we watched the Padres go through this year as a farm team, that growth, that getting beat up. Now the Braves were given the beatings. So now it'll be interesting to see what the Braves have to give to the Dodgers from what they've learned. Because like I said, we have a money ball, basically a farm team versus a team who is put together with some hard cash. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out.
So Dodgers Braves, definitely something to watch.
Oh yeah, I think it is. It's the NLCS. It's baseball. It's fall. My opinion was better.
I mean, you're right. It's gonna be a good old time. I think, personally, go Braves. Again, can't stand the Dodgers. Tired of it. Tired of them. I'm gonna go write a checkbook and make my team good. Tired of it.
Yep.
Let's go Braves.
I hope to see the best out of the series. Like I said, you have the two best seeds in the NL side. Number 1 Dodgers, number 2 Braves.
Oh, 1-2 matchup. I like it. Okay.
So it's a 1-2.
Go ahead, sorry.
I'm gonna go Braves.
You think so,
Win the series. I think it's gonna go all distance.
7.
Yep. I think it's going to go distance, but I think the Braves will pull it out.
Juicy. We'll definitely be talking about it next week. So, speaking of teams to talk about and who we won't be talking about, I'm so happy. The Yankees are gone. Oh, I loved it. Loved every minute of it. Aaron Judge did, I believe he tied a record for most home runs in like elimination games. He literally has like 3 or 4 homers in those situations. He's just clutch. I have nothing against Judge. Love watching him hit the ball. Great baseball player.
Oh, yeah.
But in the same respects, I am totally glad the Yankees lost, and Aroldis Chapman was the reason why they lost. The dude couldn't close it out. Controls all over the place. Gets in the situation. All he has to do is get the guy out. 100 mile an hour, bottom right corner, and the dude turns on it. Gone. Home run. Ends up being the difference. Love it.
Yep. I think the biggest thing for Aroldis Chapman, I think at this point, would be age. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what's going to happen next year when you talk about the Yankees. Because when it comes to bats, there's no problem. When it comes to starting pitching, there's no problem.
Right.
You would think by the names in that bullpen, there'd be no problem. But one of them is he's getting older. He's been in the MLB for quite some time now, and he's won a World Series. It's obviously fun to win more, but maybe it's not necessarily the top of his objective.
Right.
We'll see what he brings to the table next year.
Definitely something to watch for sure. So, we did speak about this top of the hour. We talked about the scandal, the treachery, the mark,
trash cans.
The mark on sports itself. I mean, it was just gross. Like, what a scandal. But they still look good. It's gross. I was hoping very much so that they were going to be the team that but I just think there's too much talent. I mean, as much as we don't like certain people, for being the dirty players they are,
right.
When it comes down to it, they take the scandal out of it. Some of these guys, they still show up in big moments, and you saw it. They went out, took care of business, just smoked the A's.
Yep. I think, again, what you said, talent. Being a Mariners fan, I get to see the Houston Astros frequently. And the Astros, prior to scandal, could hit the ball. Now,
right.
At an elevated rate during times where people are banging on trash cans and hitting buzzers and just absurd. It's just still to this point, I can't believe we're saying this, but were they talented? Yes. Are they talented? Yes. There's a lot of things that happen with that team that they do because they're talented, not because someone's giving them signals. So I am really not surprised to see them right here in the ALCS. Really not. I'm really not. So I give the props to the players, but at the same time, don't you think that they had plenty of material to work off of? I mean, Hate Mail Express down to Houston, basically, and I mean, talk about locker room hanging on the chalkboard, hanging in your locker material to keep you pumped and motivated. So these guys have everything to work for, and really nothing to lose. Everything to prove. And if they win, man, talk about a turn around and spit back in the face of
30 for 30, the turnaround in Houston.
Exactly. That's probably what we'll see. So it's it'll be interesting. They don't have an easy road. They don't have an easy road at all. They're going to have Blake Snell in Game 1. This kid is just stellar, absolutely stellar. That is an ace that anchors that line. And again, I think Tampa Bay will take this series just because Tampa Bay is just ready for this moment, and they've been ready for this moment.
I gotta say something. It's funny. It's like Florida sports is becoming relevant again.
Whoa. Pump your brakes there, Dolphins. Pump your brakes.
But for real, I mean, you think about it. The Miami Heat are in the finals. The Rays are making a surge. The Miami Hurricanes are playing the number one team. They're in the top 10. I mean, you got things all over going on down there right now where you got Florida sports just killing it.
I think you're seeing, yes, that turn, but wouldn't you agree it was, around that time frame? It's been a little bit since we've had some Florida dominance
True.
in
True.
sports. So I think
Oh,
it's time.
Tampa Bay Lightning won the cup. I mean, I gotta
Yeah,
throw it in there. Duh.
it's very true. They did. They won the Stanley Cup, and it was not taking anything away from the Stars. It wasn't. It wasn't like they were there though the whole time. And the Lightning showed that they were the superior team, and they proved it. Now they are the Stanley Cup champions, and they'll have to defend
Definitely.
it next year.
So then, back into this here. So you're saying you think Tampa has a legitimate chance of knocking off Houston?
Yes. Oh yes. Just
So we're
because
looking at
they're
maybe a possibility of a Braves Rays World Series?
honestly, I think it would be great. It would be great for baseball. I mean, think about the viewership. When was the last time the Braves were there? 90s.
Yeah, true.
You're talking Rays. Don't quote me on this. I don't think I know they've been there. They've played in the World Series, but I don't think they've won. So it would be good. It would be good for the MLB. It would be good for viewership. Get people excited about baseball again. See some different teams. It's a younger generation now looking at some different squads. So
Sure.
it would be good for the sport.
Most definitely. So I'm glad that we were able to add in some baseball there. I'm loving it, but enjoying it. I like our next segment too. I like this new little weekly time we're gonna throw on here with some NCAA football.
Yeah.
So, let's start with that wonderful team on your shirt. Let's give them a shout out. I mean, come on,
Woo!
Iowa State taking care of business. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I'm an Iowa fan, but you can never hate when you got an Iowa team taking care of business, knocking off at the time ranked team. Now Oklahoma, not so much. Looking kind of terrible. They did take care of business today. Sounds like they did bench Spencer Rattler,
I believe that's his name. Yes.
and put in the backup. But then later put in Rattler in the overtime, and it went to what, 4 or 5
Four
overtimes?
overtimes.
4 overtimes, and they finally
Four.
took care of it. Like, come on,
The highest-
wow.
And that was the highest scoring game ever in the history of the Red River Battle. And there's been a ton of scoring going on in that series.
I like it. It's good
So, yeah.
stuff. That's good
Oh
stuff.
yeah. I think the Big 12 is a good conference. I think you're seeing a lot more out of the Big 12 coming and standing up. It's exciting to see. It's exciting to see that there's actually a program in Ames, Iowa. For a long time, it was more like a crapshoot.
Tell me about it. With that being said, let's bring in our buddy here, the main man.
What's up, guys?
Main man on the
CJ?
hog side, CJ himself.
Oh, the introduction was so great. I very much appreciate it, guys.
So, what are you thinking? Okay. So my question to you, I know there's a lot of skepticism going around. Brock Purdy, and can he be the guy? Can he be consistent? Obviously, he gets that good win last week. How are you liking him moving forward?
Can you guys hear me?
I do hear you. I just can't see you.
The screen went black. Oh crap! Hold on.
Yes,
Give me a second, guys.
You're good.
Technical difficulties.
So Iowa State fan, what do you think
I'll field
about
your
Purdy?
question. Here's my outtake on Mr. Purdy. I think you look at him last year compared to quarterbacks who were drafted into the NFL. and he's subpar, unfortunately. And I'm an Iowa State fan, hoping for the best for Purdy. I thought, when he first touched the field, I thought this was going to be the first quarterback that we were really going to be proud of. Unfortunately, he makes a lot of good reads. He has really good moments, but his inconsistent play is his biggest downfall. His tight ends, which are actually one of the better sides of this offensive, part of this football team in the Big 12, gives us the biggest mismatches, and that's what created the chance to beat Oklahoma 2 weeks ago. It's almost all the reason why we beat Texas Tech today. I mean, obviously the defense showed up, played well, but again, Purdy showed up. He game managed. I hate giving this title being a 49er fan, and I support Alex Smith, and I have always supported him, and I hate game manager titles. But
Right.
Unfortunately, watching him, he's a game manager. He does what he's asked, but the moment you put the game on him, he folds like a piece of paper.
I'm hoping from what I saw, obviously they took care of business last week. We're going to see what's going on in the next couple weeks. We'll talk about them, I'm sure, next week again. But
I believe in 2 weeks we have the Oklahoma State, so that's the real big test. That's going to be possibly deciding who's going into play in the Big 12 championship, or maybe a preview of the Big 12 championship. If
Right.
Iowa State keeps their boat going in the direction they are, they're setting themselves up for a chance to be there. So give yourself a chance to play and be there. You get your chance to prove it against Oklahoma State. It's in Stillwater. You got to travel. Obviously, going to Oklahoma, no matter if it's Norman or Stillwater, is always a challenge.
Right.
This is going to be, who is this ISU football team? This will be the deciding factor of identity stamp figured out.
I like it. Yeah. Like I was saying, I'm hoping that this game was maybe a stepping stone for Purdy. I would like to see him take those steps and get better and start to make those reads more and get more consistent and make the plays that this team needs for them to be good. I'd like to see Iowa State be a consistently ranked team, just like Iowa. I'd like Iowa to come out, take care of business, show they're still a good team as well and can be a good team.
Yep.
That's just where I'm at. I'm hoping that's what we can get. But, when we look at teams that, again, maybe it's a stepping stone. You look at teams who could have guys taken at the draft, and then now let's look at teams who just lost a bunch of people to the draft.
Right.
Poor LSU.
Yes.
Just got dismantled and continue to struggle post Joe Burrow.
Yep.
Blah.
Yep. It's sad to see. They dropped, I believe it was 6 places in the poll last week. They lose again today. I would not be very, very surprised next AP poll to see LSU out of the top 25. It's not that far-fetched. But this is what happens in college. You have this beautiful 4-year, 3-year window. You get lucky and you have all these wonderful, talented young men come together and they create this awesome moment and bring championships to schools. It's inconsistent a lot of time unless you become a dynasty, in college. Become Alabama. Clemson right now is becoming that way. I believe they've won 42 of their 44 last NCAA games. Like, they've lost 2 games. Like, kidding me?
Dudes and I think that goes to Trevor Lawrence, which we'll get to. Eventually we'll get to that. But it's like the kid just knows how to win.
Yes, he does. I think it's hard to argue against Trevor Lawrence being number 1 draft pick in the NFL next year. I think right now as we speak, the game that he's playing against, I believe it's Derek King. I'm not sure if that's how I'm pronouncing his first name right, but I know it's King. He, I think, is the other guy that a lot of people don't really know who he is, unless you probably lived in the state of Texas, where he played high school ball and broke actually all of Kyler Murray's high school records when he was in high school. So he just shows just tremendous upside. I think that there's a lot to view in this Clemson Miami Hurricanes game.
Well, unfortunate for Hurricanes fans, Clemson's getting ready to go up 14-0 early.
They just did.
So that's going to be interesting to see. Lawrence already has a touchdown.
Yep. They just
King
had a 10
doesn't look
yard-
like he's been on the field enough. Yeah, 2 carries, minus 13 yards. Looks like the Clemson defense, from what I can see right now, is definitely giving King all he can handle. And so far, it's not going so well for Miami. Like to see him rebound, get into it, but speaking of rebounds, same old Gators, different week, different year, new head coach, same thing. I think we've had this head coach for a while now, so he'd say he's brand new. But since Urban Myers has left, I've always continued to see this Gator team. They go up and hit this and go right back down. It's they haven't trended up for a long time. Kyle Trask comes out looking great, and then you guys fall flat on your face and lose on a last-second field goal today to Texas A&M. Garbage.
I guess my question to you, being a Gator fan, from the statistics that I have seen, Trask played at a high level. He did. I believe he only had 9 incompletions, threw for over 300 yards, if my memory serves me correct. Had 3 touchdowns, I believe, maybe 3 or 4. Played outstanding. I don't think you put this on him. I think you.
No, it's just like I said, a team thing. This team hasn't played sound football from offense, defense, special teams, a whole team collective game for a whole season for a long time. If you're playing good defensively, you're not allowing Texas A&M to throw up that many points to have a chance to get a last-second field goal to win if you're for real.
Well, also I would have to disagree, though. I mean, you have to give this win to Texas A&M. They deserve it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why it's an upset. It's an upset. That's what I'm saying for Florida. You're a number 4 team. You're supposed to be top 5. If you want to compete with Alabama and Clemson and, say you're for real and be in this college playoff, you take care of business today. It doesn't matter who you're playing. It doesn't matter if another team has a good day or not. You take care of business. They didn't do it. It's the same old thing, different day.
Right. And I see where you're coming from. Close the games.
Yeah, you have to.
Great teams close the games. But this is also, again, why we play the game. Texas A&M came out, played excellent football. Because, again, you compare the stats on both sides, and you don't really see huge glaring mistakes by just looking at the stat lines firsthand. Just real quick glance. You don't see huge things to be like, wow, the Gators did a horrible job and turned the ball over, or Texas A&M did a horrible job. I feel like both teams played an outstanding game, and it was just that roll of the dice landed in Texas A&M's lap, and they sealed the deal rather than Florida. So, I mean, if I'm a Gators fan, I don't think you guys have anything to hold your head about. You played a great game. I don't think you're going to drop very far in the AP poll.
Honestly, from a defensive standpoint, there's no way in my mind that you give a guy 9 receptions for 151 yards and 2 touchdowns. Your secondary has to play better than that. You have to make adjustments. And when it comes to the front 7, you can't allow a guy to have 174 yards rushing for 2 touchdowns. Even though it took 27 carries, you almost gave up 200 yards.
Yeah.
No.
I agree.
You're not number 4 in the nation and letting 2 kids basically destroy your defense and put a number 21 ranked team in the game. No way. It's gross. That's why I wasn't trying to buy into the number 4 rating. I really wasn't. I didn't see it. Obviously, beating Ole Miss was nice. I like that because Ole Miss is always a good team. But, okay, here we go. Next week, we play LSU now. Now the LSU's not doing so well. They're kind of falling short. Now's the time to step on them and be done with them. And I have this odd feeling that Florida is going to play around and wind up losing to a downward spiral LSU team.
I'm going to go against you. I'm not a Gator fan. I think the Gators are going to go and they're going to play LSU on prime time. And
Well, it's in the swamp, so I mean, I like that, but it's like
it's prime time. I'm telling you, guys played good this weekend. You just got beat by the roll of the dice. You're not going to go in here and have an LSU team come in and that's just falling apart. And it's not that they're falling apart.
we
It's
still
young
got a chance too.
So I think Florida rebounds next week and does just fine.
They definitely got time. They can take care of business. We're just gonna see one game at a time. If they lose to LSU, I'm definitely sticking to what I'm saying. Same Florida team, different season. I'm hoping that that's not the case, and I'm hoping you're right, because then we can go into. They still have a chance because after that they play Missouri. You got to take care of that game. That's not a game you overlook either. Obviously, they just upset a team. LSU, I do believe. Didn't they just beat LSU?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So we play LSU, we play Missouri, and then we go to play Georgia, who is ahead of us in the division. You beat them, you got a chance to go to the SEC championship still. So steep road now that you decided to lose in a bad situation, but it's still doable. So we'll see. I'm hoping for the best. But at the same time, sometimes you got to prepare for the worst. And
as a fan, you always have to prepare for the worst and just hope for the best.
Especially if you're a Lakers fan, because if you're not careful, they might be on the opposite end of a 3-1.
They might switch up how they're attacking you or how they're being defended, and things might change. But I honestly think we need to bring a Lakers fan in. Ace.
What's up, guys?
What's going on, buddy?
Speak of the Ace. Oh.
How's it going, guys?
It seems that Jonah, wow. It seems that CJ, excuse me there, is having some technical difficulties. I'm not sure what's going on, if he'll join with us, rejoin us.
It was something about his internet.
Okay, so if he's back, cool. If not, no big deal. But we'll look out for him.
Yep.
So NBA Finals, Lakers up 3-2. We got the Lakers fan representing tonight. Let's start with you. What's up? What you feeling? Where you at?
I'm still feeling all right. About our title odds right now. There's obviously some things that need to change, but I still feel real good that they're going to pull it out. I think tomorrow they'll pull it out. They just got to take away those turnovers. They had 15 last night. They had 8 in the first quarter.
It's true. You can't win a game when you turn the ball over. And I'm sure if you look at the stat line and those 8 turnovers and all the stat turnovers in general, I'm sure that you're seeing the Miami Heat are scoring lots of points off those turnovers.
Yeah. And the other big thing is Jimmy Butler can't have a triple double. Just can't allow it to happen anymore.
You mean for the third time?
Yeah.
If he doesn't get to be 3 in the finals.
If Jimmy Butler gets a third one, it's going to go to a game 7. Unless somehow LA can step up, especially the role players. But a triple double Jimmy Butler is hard to beat. A very hard person to beat.
Yeah, I mean, ask LeBron. He's seen it twice now.
Yeah.
I think the better question is you should ask AD because he's seen it best. So
yeah, well, okay, but the thing is though is when AD is guarding him, he's doing a decent job and he's taking that responsibility. It's just when Jimmy Butler gets to the other guys defending him, he gets to the line so easy. So easy. It's like another James Harden.
You know what's interesting about that statement though? What Laker, and there's only one, holds Jimmy Butler to 6 for 16 shooting below 50%? Give me a name.
Caldwell
Give you a
Pope.
name.
Caldwell Pope.
It's probably going to be someone like Markeith Morris or something.
What I feel like you're like peeking over my shoulder here, looking at my notes, but it's okay. Yes, it's Markeith Morris. He's the only Laker.
Not really surprised.
And we're including LeBron. We're including Anthony Davis. We're including all these guys. And we're still talking about a guy who, and by the way, Butler shot 31.7% from mid-range and 24.4% from three-point in the regular season. When you combine those two, he was the least effective shooter in the NBA.
Yeah.
Least effective. And this guy is going off for triple-doubles. And I'll tell you why he's doing it.
He's playing the same team.
It's not even that. They are just utilizing switch. They are forcing the Laker defenders to switch.
They are.
You're putting Jimmy buckets at this point.
When they switched Dwight Howard on him last night, he murdered him every time.
Every time.
Well, he doesn't go in on him. But here's the thing. He also makes great decisions with the ball while other people are focusing on him. So all these Lakers guys are crashing, while you have Duncan Robinson over here nailing three-pointers. Skill point, three-point guy.
Yep.
Now, is he going to do what Goran Dragic, who I think is questionable for game 6?
Doubtful.
Yeah, he's doubtful.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
go ahead, CJ. What do you got?
So right now, the way I see it is, again, I'm still sticking to my gut. It's the Lakers championship. No matter how many games it takes, to give Miami any type of hope in anything. I just think I think that is just destined for the Lakers to win this. And it just sucks because, seeing last night, Markeith Morris could have easily won the game. Could have won the game. But
how does he win the game when he has 0 points in 24 minutes and one rebound?
He had the ball. It doesn't matter if you had 0 points. You had the ball to make it. You had the ball to make the shot. Regardless if you didn't have no points the whole game.
Right.
When your number is called,
his number wasn't called. His number wasn't called though. He got the rebound after a Danny Green miss.
Yeah.
Which by the way, Danny Green, if you would have looked, KCP was open in the corner who had the hot hand out of the role players that night. He started last night, but he is technically a role player if you actually think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a lot of things that the Lakers could have did differently to win that game.
Here's what I would. If I would have changed one thing, I would have played KCP more. I would have seen, or at least hoped that Frank Vogel would have seen that Markeith Morris was defensively and offensively ineffective.
Yeah. I'm just about to say, I don't even see why they picked him up. Like, it's the reason. Like, once you get cut by the Wizards,
right?
Once you get cut by the Wizards, it's something to think about.
Okay, but you can't say that because look at Dwight Howard. Look at what Dwight Howard's done this year.
Well, let's be real. Anybody of Dwight Howard's stature should be able to ball out if you have AD playing with you on the court. It's just like, JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee is going to beat JaVale McGee. But
JaVale McGee was a nobody until he went to Golden State.
He had help.
The only thing that he had done before he went to Golden State is he was in the dunk contest. That was it.
Yeah. But
McGee was a nobody until he went to Golden State.
But this goes back to what I'm saying. Dwight Howard, honestly, I don't think he's been the same since he left Orlando.
Oh, hell no.
And when I see him now, it's everybody saying, "Oh, Dwight Howard's going off." I was like, no, That's just the Rockets Howard. You know,
Yeah.
You know,
it's no difference in the Dwight Howard that we're seeing. We're just seeing him more effective because it's a lot of weapons on the court to focus on all at once. When you have LeBron and AD on the court, nobody's worried about Dwight Howard. You're just worried about two people on that court right now.
right.
Dwight Howard for the Lakers is just a defensive presence. That's it.
Well,
Yeah,
the
just
fact-
like
physical.
just like it was DeMarcus Cousins' purpose.
Yeah.
Purpose
Right.
with
Well,
big
but then-
quotations on it.
But I mean, then defensive, he has 2 rebounds, 0 blocks. But the biggest part that I see that Dwight Howard played in hurting the Lakers was a third quarter foul on Jimmy Butler, which ended up being a 6-point possession for the Miami Heat. So I mean, that's insane. You're talking about swinging 6 points in one
Yep.
possession.
That hurt.
That's just crazy.
Yeah,
That hurts a
and
lot.
yeah, and just like you guys said earlier, like it was I don't know what the Lakers is thinking having Dwight Howard on Jimmy Butler. Like, this is a total mismatch.
Mm-hmm.
It's a total mismatch. You know.
Well, and I just feel like this game, the role players of the Lakers kind of took the night off. They took the night off. I mean, I don't want to say kind of. They took the night off because I sit here and I look at the score line. We got LeBron James with 40 points, 13 rebounds, and 7 assists. I'm thinking, okay, LeBron's walling out. The rest of the team's probably inspired. No. So then you have Anthony Davis, who has 28 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, and 3 blocks.
Yep.
Again, both your stars showed up, played well. The part where it gets disheartening is when you start to go through the list of guys. Like I said, Markieff Morris, 0 points, 24 minutes. Dwight Howard, 2 points, 2 rebounds, 0 blocks. Third quarter foul, which really screwed him. Then you have KCP, who I feel like they should have really played into more, considering he was 3 from 8 from 3-point line. Really, what tilted that to 3 to 8. He missed the back-to-back threes when it came to crunch time. So prior to that, he was shooting 50% from the 3-point line. It finished with 16 points. The question here is Caruso, 3 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, but 3 turnovers. So you have the line of 3 for Caruso.
Honestly, they should have played Rondo more, Caruso less.
But
No,
Rondo
yeah.
was 1 from 7 from the field. He had 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, but was benched in crunch time by Frank because Frank saw Rajon Rondo, who made no difference.
He saw the no difference in scoring, but 5 rebounds and 5 assists in how many minutes? I mean,
I'm
he's
sure the
doing
minutes.
he's doing something right. I really feel like Rondo in crunch time needs to be in there because everyone knows he's not a scorer.
Right.
I don't think
He's a
everybody got
facilitator.
involved the way they're supposed to.
What
That's
about
it.
what about Kuzma also? I mean, you're talking 7 points.
I'm
Three-
done with Kuzma.
3 for 10 from the field. He didn't hit a single 3-pointer, took 4 of them.
He's spotty.
He had the team's worst positive negative with a negative 17. And you talk about the big foul ending the third quarter to help the Heat build that lead to 6.
Yep.
That's a crucial point in the game.
I watched
Yeah,
it.
he's way too up and down. Just watch. Tomorrow he's gonna have 15 or more. Just watch.
He's
That's what's
just
gonna happen.
he's just too inconsistent for me. And if people are looking at him to eventually become to have a bigger role with the Lakers right now, because to be honest, I don't see him starting no time soon. Not with LeBron, AD, and whoever else is there starting, Danny Green. I don't see him starting anytime soon. But you have the potential to become a 6-man, but you have to step up. You can't be having inconsistent games like the way he has been having during the season and during the playoffs.
100%.
He's hot and cold all the time.
Yeah.
So to have my little spiel here, I need to see these role players show up, like we've all said. I need to see more from many people. LeBron showed up in closing times and was dropping threes from the logo. The dude was driving, getting double teams, triple teams, and almost had basically half the team to himself in the corner on the last play. Gives it to Danny Green, and who is top 4 in playoff 3-point history, top of the key, wide open, hits it short. Markieff Morris gets a rebound. And instead of looking to your left, where, back to what Niner said, give KCP the ball. Hey, look to your left. Hey, what's up, KCP? Standing wide open in the corner. That's his shot.
So
Airmailed
let me
it.
say
2.2.
this: what if they did go to KCP and he missed a shot?
You live with it. Like LeBron says, you live with it.
We're still talking Series 3-2. So really it doesn't change the outcome, but you at least gave the ball to the hot hand. Markieff
It's
Morris
better than
obviously-
throwing the ball out of bounds like Morris did.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
airmailed
that's
it
true.
over Anthony Davis's head.
Yeah,
So
you
it was a
know,
bonehead play.
yeah,
I
it
think, though-
was almost just as bad as watching J.R. Smith, make that pass.
Oh, God.
And now it's sad because both J.R. Smith and Morris are on the same team now. It just makes it worse.
Well, here's the thing that I have to say to the Lakers. And it's interesting that the pick and roll game is biting the Lakers in the butt because the Heat in the regular season generated 8.8% of their offense from pick and roll game, which was the highest in the league. And what they're doing now is just generating the same type of offense. They're making Anthony Davis, when you watch the film, he has to take these long arches underneath these screens. And when he's taking these long, deep routes, Jimmy Butler's coming up, pulling up, hitting it. If he doesn't hit it, he's pulling off great passes. And then you have Kendrick Nunn. He's stepping up to the plate. You have guys who got no respect at all during the season and really during the playoffs, and now these guys are stepping up. Maybe it took them a few games to get started, but I think the Heat deserve a lot more credit. I think they're being underestimated. And if the Lakers don't come out and play role players, I'm not talking to LeBron James or Anthony Davis, role players need to show up.
Here's how I look at it. When it comes to the Heat, and watching the Heat, beat my team, the Celtics, in the previous series. You obviously see a lot of, what they have been doing in the playoffs period. It's just that they have the role players, right? And unlike every other team who has just as much amount of role players, everybody gets involved. Everybody has a certain role, and everybody is there inside of that and on the court to make plays. And that's just what you have, down there in Miami. So, when you see these guys playing on the court, a lot of people ask, how did the Heat get so good? It's not even about, why they're so good. It's you see them out there and they using the guys that they have.
Effort.
And
Effort
yeah,
plays.
exactly. And
Effort.
the guys that they do have on that bench is putting up 110% of their effort on the court and
Yep.
leaving it there.
Well, I think also, and I'll take this back. I said this statement earlier. I believe it was in my first episode. Jimmy Butler has been toxic in all locker rooms. I think he's finally in the right locker room with the right people above him that are molding his hard-driven ego. Unfortunately, he's a little distraught when it comes to his teammates, but he's flourishing. Miami is luckily, reaping all the benefits at this point of having a Jimmy Butler who is focused and dropping triple doubles at this point, multiple in the finals. So I think the Heat deserve credit. They showed up. They're making it a series. The Lakers, honestly, I feel like at this point have more to lose. And what a failure. We lose Kobe this year, and the Lakers make it to the finals to lose after 3-0, 3-1 start, 3-1.
And I think that's the issue right there, and I'm not saying that, that is what you're playing for, because that's obviously what they're playing for. They're playing to bring the championship back home for Kobe. We all know it.
Right.
That's what they feel. But,
Yep.
in this playoffs, you have to play for you. You have to want to win. You
Be in the
can't.
moment.
I understand that it's emotional every time you get on that field, and when you put on those Mamba jerseys, I get it. It's emotional. It's an emotional thing, but use those emotions, and you got to win these games. They could have easily swept Miami. I'm not saying Miami is bad, but they had the tools
Oh yeah.
to make it a sweep. If it's not a sweep, then a 4-1. It should have been no reason why right now it's 3-2. It shouldn't have been no reason at all.
No, considering the information was there for the Lakers to make the adjustment just based upon regular season.
And they had more time for preparations.
True.
They've played well. But yes, Miami's also played well.
Yeah.
I think when it comes down to it, unfortunately, you see the Miami and Eric Spoelstra have made the correct adjustments as the series have gone on. And it's honestly let LeBron have whatever he wants and take away AD. That's what it is. He's dropped 30 the first 2 games, and since then he hasn't hit 30. They've won, yes, without him hitting 30, that's how they're up 3-2. But when you look at it, if you get a 30-30 game from LeBron and AD tomorrow night, it's over.
And I'm going to say this.
And I've said this too, real quick. When the Heat won their first game, and they're like, "Oh, Jimmy Butler triple-double," I said yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's going to take for the Heat to win every time they win, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
Also, Duncan Robinson going off for 26. He's not going to do that every night.
That's true.
No.
I'm going to say this last thing, and I'm going to say my piece with this. When you have that many, that type of talent on your team, you're gonna flourish in the season. But there has been times where you have these high caliber, high powered teams, and they don't have anything to show up for it in the playoffs when the games matter, because you underestimate these guys with just about 1 or 2 stars maybe and a bunch of role players.
Right.
The Heat, you underestimated these guys because you said, "Oh, Boston beat them," and maybe Boston just didn't have what it takes. Same thing that happened in Series 1. They were underestimated, and I think just in this playoffs with the Heat, everybody has underestimated. And even with the Lakers right now, they have underestimated the Heat. So now there's the time to take a step back. Look at the series. Look at how it has changed. Look at how it's changed courses. Right now you're down. Right now you're up 3-2. They was up what, 3-1?
Yep.
Yeah. And now this is the time to actually step up and close this out.
Yep.
And if you don't,
history.
I'm sorry. Yeah. It's time to just find other places for these guys to go.
It'd be Jimmy Butler MVP for the finals.
Of course,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Two triple.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen 2 triple-double games back to back.
No.
In the finals, I don't think I've ever seen it before. 2
That's
triple-double games.
That's what's going to take tomorrow night.
2 triple-double games back to back. That's crazy.
He's on fire.
They need another one tomorrow. That's all I'm saying.
It's true.
I feel like tomorrow AD comes out, LeBron comes out, they take care of business. But I think, like Jonas said, I think Kuzma has 15, and I think KCP has 15, and I think Danny Green has the biggest role play score of them all tomorrow because he missed that shot.
Think about it too. That would actually make a lot of sense with Danny Green, because what was it? The very first game of the playoffs against the Trailblazers, he had 1 point.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, that was KCP. KCP had 1 point, and then came back, absolutely dominated the next game. Danny Green didn't hit a 3 at all that game. That's what it was.
Yes.
Came back. I think he had 15, 16 points that
Correct.
very next game. Same with KCP.
Yep.
It's exactly what's going to happen.
I just feel like the bench is deeper for the Lakers than the Heat. I think that's what ultimately is going to have to win this series. Like last night, they only used 2 bench players. They used Kendrick Nunn and
Who hadn't played all series, by the
Don't they
way.
have Caldwell Pope?
He didn't play until last night.
Wow.
they only used 2 bench players. I forgot that. Hang on.
All I gotta say is that the Lakers have depth and the Heat have heart. If the Lakers' depth doesn't play with heart, that heart is gonna catch them, and the Lakers will be history.
Oh well, yeah, 100%. You're seeing it, but when you have a guy like LeBron James on your team, he's going to have them ready to go tomorrow. He will find a way once again to inspire his teammates to get the most out of them. That's what you see him do in crunch time like this. He knows tomorrow's must win. Tomorrow is the Lakers' game 7. If they don't take care of it, and this goes to game 7, I have like a 75-25 feeling that Miami could take it, and then I really should have bet $100 on Miami to win.
Right. But yeah, definitely 7:30 tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern.
Yeah, I wanna also give a congratulations and kudos to the NBA itself. With this bubble and everything, that home field advantage still plays a big factor. Regardless if the bubble is in Florida right now, and everybody knows that it's in Florida, home field advantage takes a big part still.
Right.
And when they switch up those courts, to whoever is the home field, you can see that it still plays a big part. Even if it is virtual crowds and changing the courts and the ambiance is still there.
Come on, we got none showing up for playoff games, man. It's great. It is great. The NBA is doing great. It's great to see it, and Adam Silver is doing a great job with that league and turning it around. Honestly.
Yeah, I just hope there are other sports leagues who's actually taking note of this. I know with football it's very hard. Seeing that it's a bigger team and a bigger organization and things like that. But there's something that you can take from this bubble and just make it better.
Agreed.
True. Yeah, it was Iguodala and Nunn were the only 2 bench players that played for Miami.
Yeah.
So all their other players played 30+ minutes last night.
They have Iguodala too, right?
Yeah, Igu's off the bench. Yeah.
Yeah. So and just like you said, you have all these bench players, and you still out here trying to play these stars for 30+ minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I get they're your stars, but obviously, as great LeBron James is, he can't keep running 40 minute quarters. 30 games, I meant. You can't. Age takes a toll on you. I don't care how great you are.
Oh, I know.
Age does take a toll on you.
Oh yeah.
And at this point, Dwight Howard you can't play a certain amount of minutes. Hey, look, LeBron, you can't play a certain amount of minutes either. But that's why it's just no reason why they have so many talented people on that bench, and you're only using 2. That was just a bad mistake. If they had used more bench players and allowed the bench players to step up and rest their starters, maybe the Lakers could have won last night.
Watch for this. Watch for JaVale McGee to make a presence next game.
I hope so.
See Vogel saying, and this will be interesting. Vogel saying, McGee, you get the start. We're going to bring Dwight off the bench, and we're really going to tire out Bam and them come third, fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you got to do. That's what I said coming in. If you don't use those big guys, you're losing. And he didn't play McGee last night. He just played Howard and AD.
I don't think McGee's played at all except for maybe the first game.
You got to use that guy. You got to. He has championship mentality. He knows what it takes to win in those
And he
situations.
got great defense. I don't
Oh,
care.
He's got
I don't.
length.
Yeah, he got length, and he's quick for a guy his length as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Need it.
to not see him be involved in the game plan, like I get it. You don't want to have 3 centers on your lineup, but at this point, you got to do something.
Right. Well, that's fun and all. We'll definitely be coming back to that next week. By next week, we'll definitely be having a champion crown. So we'll be covering our last week of basketball for a while.
It's so
that'll
sad.
be fun.
I want
It is, isn't it? It'll be fun to see.
I want to throw this out real quick.
Go for it.
Is that last week, with the whole Haskins things going on, right? Dwayne Haskins and him being benched.
Right.
So, the question was, a bold prediction of what happens, and I was asked that, and I said, well, just what if Kyle Allen throws 300 plus yards and a trio of touchdowns and actually win this game? Everybody laughed at me. So guess what? D'Angelo Hall and another veteran guy. They said the same thing. Just what if Kyle Allen throws 3 touchdowns for 300 yards? And so, when I seen that later on in the week, I was like, I said that. Things like that happens.
Yeah.
It's funny, funny you bring up football,
It's perfect.
That's totally what we're getting ready to get into.
Week 4.
So,
Whew.
So let's just start there, right? The recap starts with the debacle for the Washington football team as they got ran over by Lamar Jackson. Let's see here.
Oh man, where do I begin? Go ahead.
I think our biggest thing when we look at this game is Lamar absolutely went off. And we knew he was going to go off. And played extremely well.
Sorry, fellas. I didn't even know that was going on.
Sorry for all the technical issues.
We had to have one of those shows eventually. We haven't really had any yet.
But
Yeah,
I think you look at Washington, unfortunately, they were the team that had to play the Ravens after the Ravens shot themselves in the foot against Kansas City. And it came out. And it just unfortunately put Haskins and the team in a bad situation. I think Haskins may have spent his last time in Washington, but I don't think it's a bad thing. Give Allen an opportunity. Right now, flush out who's in there. Check what's in your roster.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Like, I don't think necessarily that the Ravens, had a great game. The Ravens didn't have a game that the Ravens normally have. You know what I'm saying? And that makes me feel just a tad bit better because, it just goes to show that if things were made differently and played differently, the game could have been a lot closer. Like you guys said, when we was talking about what was the keys to them winning this game, and I said, well, you got to stop Mark Andrews. Well, I mean, what happened?
Right.
Mark Andrews got 2 touchdowns, and that was the deciding factor. Other than that, we would have been going overtime, 17-17. And it sucks because, when Haskins getting benched, you knew that everything was going to just go left and right. Some fans saying, "Oh, it's because he's a black quarterback." Other fans saying, "Oh, great because he's trash." Another set of fans saying, "Oh, well, he hasn't been producing." And it's granted, Ron Rivera probably did, his decision was a little bit hasty, to what other people like. But then it goes like this. regardless of, and I just kept stressing this all week. Regardless of how your rookie season went, you only played 6 games. You played for 2 head coaches at a time. Your first coach didn't really believe in you. Your second coach was iffy on you. So this is technically still your rookie season, right? You didn't have any preseason. You didn't have any OTAs. I get that part. But you still have to show some type of growth as a quarterback.
Or
Like,
even from a
yes,
maturity standpoint.
exactly. Like, even if your offensive line is bad, horrible, you still have to show some type of growth.
Right.
And as me being as big as an advocate as I have been for the kid, he hasn't been showing as much growth as I would like him to. So at this
Do you,
point in time, when you looked at when Ron Rivera looked at the record, with the division, you see that, this is not a landslide. Nobody is in favor to win.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, since these guys are actually playing, you know, with effort, let me try to at least give it back to them.
right. I don't know. But again, I agree with you on the rookie statement. But I feel like the culture within that locker room hasn't changed in decades. We're just now seeing them, have just a tiny, they were forced. I mean, their hand was forced into, accepting that even the name of the team was a racial term. So I feel like from the top of the organization to the locker room to possibly the field guys, I feel like total change is needed within that Washington building organization. And I think Ron Rivera is a very, very smart choice as a coach. He brings understanding. Being a Hispanic coach, obviously the only Hispanic coach in the NFL, most likely. And you look at these guys, and I think maybe Haskins just needs a new opportunity and a different team. This is a classic example of a guy who needs to be traded, given a new opportunity. I think he could do well, possibly going somewhere else.
And go ahead.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat. I did also read, excuse me, I did also read that Rivera, I believe today, said that even though he did bench Haskins, he hasn't lost faith in him entirely.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I was trying to get the fans to understand. It's like, just because he benched on third string doesn't mean that he's completely done with the kid. You
No,
know,
This
you
is
know
this
when
is the moment. Okay, so like Jake said, or the whole albatross, whatever. I don't. It's whatever.
I know you got it.
What you said with Rivera and his coaching style, this all makes sense. This is that perfect situation of, hey kid, you're not figuring out what I'm telling you on the field. Go sit on the bench and listen to what I'm telling you on the bench, and let's see if you can figure it out now.
and
That's why he put him third string. It wasn't you're my backup. It's no, you're gonna go sit on the bench and figure it out.
exactly, I don't want you to think about getting on the field. I want you to
Exactly.
think about this playbook. I want you to look at this
Yeah.
playbook.
Yeah.
I want you to look at these games that you played and figure out what is it that you did wrong. And I want you to learn from it.
Yeah.
Not paying attention to the field, because obviously the last 24 to 48 hours, he was getting a lot more reps than he has been doing throughout the week.
Right.
Inside of practices. So obviously they want him to learn and
Yep.
not have to worry about, coming inside of the game, during game time. You
Yep.
don't have to worry about that. Sit on the bench and learn. You know what I'm saying? And I want you to learn. I don't think he's really, done with Haskins. I just want people to, see that, you got to stop comparing Daniel Jones' situation. Everybody's saying, "Oh, well, Daniel Jones still playing. He has the same numbers." I said, "Yeah, but in the same week, in 1 week, Nick Mullins got benched for C.J. Beathard. Brian Hoyer got benched for Jarrett Stidham. Mitchell Trubisky got benched in what, the second or third week
Third
for
week.
Nick Foles. The third week for Nick Foles.
Yep.
So listen, don't compare him to Daniel Jones, okay? Because you guys are missing the point that there are other quarterbacks out here who lost their jobs very much earlier. Nick
100%.
Mullins shouldn't have got benched, in my
Yes, he
opinion.
should've.
Shouldn't have got benched. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
he
But I mean,
He actively threw the game away. He proved to you why Nick Mullins will never be any better than a number 2. And even at a number 2, the only reason why we won even against the Jets is because Jimmy Garoppolo hobbled around for a half and put the team in a positive position.
yeah. See, and like you said, he threw 2 interceptions, right? And he didn't get benched at all. Dwayne Haskins threw 3 interceptions, and then everybody was like, "Oh, please take him out," you know. But once he
Yeah.
got benched, it was just like everybody was like, "Why bench him?" I mean, he has been doing pretty well. He threw 3 picks against Cleveland. You
Right.
know,
But maybe I think the question should be, they're focused on the negatives. It's all the negative narrative right now behind Haskins. And that's why I feel the change of scenery out of Washington would be the best case for his career at this point. But at the same time, do we give credit to Cleveland? Cleveland showed up obviously last week against the Cowboys. They showed up, and obviously they held off Dak and company. But I feel like that was pretty much Dak Prescott willing the team to score points.
Right.
yeah.
So, to touch base here on good old Lamar and the Ravens, I think it was, like I said, it was a nice little bounce back for him. Obviously, they didn't totally dismantle Washington entirely, but it was a good bounce back for him. It was good to see them kind of get back into really what makes that team good. Like, I feel like, again, that Kansas City game, they just all they wanted to do was pass the ball.
Yeah. What is his status for Sunday actually?
Go with what?
He's he injured his knee during the game, which is why RG3 came in.
I haven't
And
seen
he did not participate in practice Wednesday.
I saw that. I haven't seen it.
He did participate on Thursday.
Okay. All right. Yeah, just
So yeah,
making sure.
he should be good then.
Yeah,
really we'll have to watch out for him. Maybe that's why he's been passing more. Maybe he's been dealing with that knee injury longer than we think.
Right.
It's a possibility. That makes sense. But
yeah, and that hit on him. When RG3 came in was bad as well. That's when he threw his interception. So it was one of those things where you got to protect that guy.
Right, definitely something to pay attention.
Well, he got to protect himself too. That's one of the issues that we have with RG3. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna try to protect you. Yes, our offensive line is horrible, but you can't have a horrible offensive line and then want to take things upon yourself and you not knowing how to slide.
Right.
So man, I just want people to just not focus too much on the negative with Haskins and just hope that I believe that eventually he'll get a shot again, but just right now he just needs to sit and learn. And I don't know how much I believe of him actually deleting the team off his social medias and stuff like that. I'm not sure what percentage of that is true.
Right.
I haven't really seen anything else except for what was it, PR Sports or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, and I haven't seen anything else from any other source from that matter. As far as Haskins deleting the social and stuff like that. I haven't heard anything from it. I follow everything as far as Washington on Twitter. I haven't heard anything else remotely from that. So it's again, like you said, Albatross, it's just one of those things where focusing on the negative and things that's like being drawn out. It's just as long as this kid focuses. One thing that I didn't like seeing in the beginning of this week is when after hearing that he was benched, he was like turning his back, twisting and turning. Like, dude, just focus.
Yep.
Pay attention to what's going on.
This is
Nobody wants to get benched. Nobody wants to get benched. And
This is
nobody
where
wants to get benched after being told that you're the captain and leader of the team. Nobody wants to get benched, but things have to happen.
Yep. See, and this is where I criticized a lot of Chicago fans and a lot of NFL fans, period, for giving Trubisky such a hard time last year when he said we just need to turn off the TVs. That's just the truth. Just turn off the TVs, quit reading social media, worry about what's happening in your locker room. If you worry about what's happening in your locker room, the rest of the stuff will take care of itself.
Mm-hmm. We seen one quarterback fall to that, and
Yep.
you see how that worked out for him. Johnny Manziel. I'm going to say his name.
Right.
You know,
I'll
Johnny
tell you.
Manziel had the potential to become a decent quarterback. I'm not going to say great because I'm not sure how great he could have been. But I just think that with having the mediocrity and the embarrassment down there in Cleveland as they had before, you know, them having Stefanski, I just think that if he had the team the Browns had now, I think he would have had a better outcome.
Oh yeah. Yep. You're finally seeing that culture change in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland finally has cleaned house the right way. And I mean, look, you even have Brady Quinn coming out now recently saying that he feels that the reason why his NFL career was never on track is because the Cleveland Browns drafted him.
Uh-huh.
And think about the time that he came into the Cleveland Browns organization.
He got hit
Well,
so hard.
exactly. Horrible, horrible, horrible. And until the Cleveland changes again, and this is a culture issue that these locker rooms deal with this losing culture just year in year out. They never change, and then you finally get the right guys to make the changes. Like I said, the Washington football team has made huge changes this year, and it has been a shock not only to the fan base but to players, sponsors. So I think it's a big year of change for that team, and to see them at the position they are with some of the young talent they have, I'd be excited for them.
I mean, look at Deshaun Kaiser.
You know, speaking of good young talent and looking good, Joe Burrow getting that first win.
He did. He did.
Was that more Joe Mixon though?
Hey,
Ooh.
a dub's dub.
Burrow has
Hey.
Burrow has to hand him the ball.
I mean, true, but I mean, how many times you seen the quarterback actually flop on a pitch and go?
It's okay though. Honestly,
I'm not taking anything from Burrow. He still had a great game.
Yes, he did.
As a rookie. Yes, he had a great game as a rookie. But Joe Mixon, I mean, this guy has set the bar.
Oh, Joe Mixon's been good for a while.
Yeah. Like we all seen Joe Mixon be just under Giovanni Bernard at one time.
Yep.
And everything just went from here to here.
Yep.
Oh yeah, night and day difference. And
I think
especially when the kid's healthy, Joe Mixon is in my mind top 10 running back.
he's definitely in that conversation. I would agree with that. And that's what helps Burrow. Think about how much that helps probably open, passing lanes and passing windows for him to make the throws to these guys.
I definitely agree.
I think it's an exciting time for Cincinnati. They're seeing that first round draft pick produce its first win, and we weren't even to week 5 yet, so that's a positive thing.
That's what I thought was the biggest thing. Get that monkey off your back now. Now you can start to build on that, getting that first win, start to build forward and see really where you can be this year. Can you make a little run, or is this just, build every game, build on your fundamentals, grow as a team, and prepare for next year?
Right.
So a team that's been preparing for a while, they're now in the mix of things, and they're looking good so far.
Uh-oh.
The good old Bills Mafia.
Yep.
Rolling to 4-0.
I think our question should be is how real are they?
Definitely. I think that's my biggest thing.
Well, we got to understand they don't pick their schedule. And this is obviously the argument that we get for all teams. All 32
What's
teams.
wrong with this schedule? What's wrong with this schedule?
Well, right now, think about it. They played the Dolphins. They played the Jets. There's 2 games. Then you go and you play the Raiders. And then you play the Rams. And they took care of business against the Rams. So you talk about 4 teams they played right now. And let's be honest, one really is a more complete team at this point, and that being the Rams. The Raiders showed up 2 weeks and now disappeared for 2 weeks. 2-2. Dolphins are still in Fitztragic time. We haven't hit Tua time yet in Miami. And then the Jets are still stuck under the rock with Adam Gase.
Well, I mean, you're right. They're only given the schedule that they're given. But honestly, besides the actual besides the Jets, I think each team that they've played so far, has competed, and
Yes.
it hasn't been a rout. I don't think none of those games was routed, in a sense.
No.
But like you said, Josh Allen just took care of business, man, and he's on his way to becoming MVP if he keeps doing what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. He's playing extreme. Lights out.
Which I mean, from a Miami standpoint, it's not fun to watch. But at the same time, when the kid got drafted, the year that he was in the draft, I was over here jumping up and down. Miami needs to draft this guy. Miami needs to draft this guy. And of course, we didn't draft the guy. That's when we got
Josh Rosen. No, I'm joking.
Nope. Rosen got taken right before that. So I think we took Wilkins.
Who do you guys took that year?
Wilkins or the guard or the tackle that you guys drafted that year?
Yeah, I'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, I was happy, with the kid from a physical standpoint, like big build, big body, big arm for the cold. That's what you want.
So let me ask this. If Josh Rosen was still with you guys now, with the team that you have now, do you think he would have had a different outcome?
I think you give Josh Rosen a chance in this offense with this spread with the weapons. Yeah. And this is why I say that, which honestly, come back to that. Come back to that in a minute, and we'll get to that because that will actually add to some points.
Okay.
So, with the Bills rolling good, we're going to see what they're doing on Sunday, see if they can get to that 5-0. I don't know the last time they were 5-0. We'll have to look up a stat on that if they do hit that.
Well, according to most, this would be their first real test playing the Chiefs.
Ooh, I like it. Chiefs. You got ups and downs. You got COVID and came out. You got KC with one of the easiest schedules in the league, and the only 2 tests that they get weren't really tests at all.
Well, and according to the rest of their schedule, they only have 2 more teams that are over 500, and that is the Bills and the Bucks.
Yeah, great.
All the rest of the teams are 1-win, 2-win teams.
So when you look at this, go ahead, sir.
It's unfortunate they're not, for some reason the schedule wasn't more challenging for a defending champion to have to navigate through, but it is what it is.
I was going to say something similar to that, but also when you look at the game, Cam Newton being out, obviously the stats say that it's not a huge difference besides maybe a couple turnovers. But I think from a dynamic standpoint, I think Cam Newton in this game offensively, you got a 50-50 chance at least changing the outcome.
Yeah.
I don't know that defense for Kansas City, and that's something to me. I want to come out and say I feel like a lot of people are trying to say this defense is, this and that, and they're good. They're becoming one of those groups. I'm not convinced. I don't see it.
Here's the thing. This is the conversation that I had with a buddy of mine about the Chiefs defense. The Chiefs defense is one of those defenses that you're not looking for them to have 8 sacks a game. You're not looking for them to have, 3 interceptions, 4 interceptions a game. But one thing that you can rest assured is that with the Chiefs defense is that they're just there to manage the game for Patrick Mahomes. And they do a great job at helping Patrick Mahomes manage the game. Not Patrick Mahomes, helping the defense manage the game. It's the defense helping Patrick Mahomes manage the game better. And because you can have Patrick Mahomes can have 42 points. But those 42 points don't mean nothing if the other team's offense can score 42 points as well.
Right.
And the Chiefs just do a great job with not allowing that opposing offense to score as many points as the Chiefs offense. They're not top tier, I don't think, but
But you just have to get the job done.
exactly, and that's what they do. They do a great job getting the job done. I think it's more of the secondary. I think it's more of their secondary than their front seven.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give Frank Clark. You got to give that dude his respect.
Yeah, Tyrann Mathieu, he just raised the bar as far as the skill.
Matthew's gotten better for sure. But yeah, when you look at Frank Clark, there was a couple times last game where there was even on tape where they were triple teaming him.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to give the dude some props there. I'm not, like I said, I'm by no means a KC fan, but I'll give props where props is due when you got talent on certain aspects of the ball.
Since we're talking about KC, I'm gonna ask this question.
Go for it.
Can Tyreek Hill have an Antonio Brown career?
No.
Definitely not. Not even close.
And here's the biggest difference why. You can't have a career like a real receiver when you only run 2 to 3 routes on a route tree.
It was a question that I was asked, and I just felt like, let me go to ask it since we're on Kansas City right now.
Right.
Logically, it's a solid response too, because it's not like you have, again, the route tree that Antonio Brown can run. Tyreek Hill runs a lot of deep routes, streaks, posts, things of that such. You don't see him running the technical across the middle routes.
Mm-hmm.
But, will he get his yards? Yeah, when you have a guy who throws you the ball 25, 30 yards down the field and you get chunk plays, he's going to have receiving yards at the end of his career. He'll have touchdowns and all those pretty flashy things. But, I think if we look back and we're honest, what was his greatest tool was his speed. And again, his speed is utilized by a quarterback who, in my opinion, is mediocre at best at running. Fitzpatrick could do the runs that Patrick Mahomes does if you have guys running in the opposite direction full speed. So it's the utilization, and again, I think this is needs to be a point to Andy Reid. Utilize what you have. If you have speed, utilize it, and Andy Reid knows how to utilize it.
100%.
Another question for another wide receiver: Is Sammy Watkins' career rejuvenated since being with Kansas City? Man, has his career been rejuvenated in a sense?
I think if Sammy Watkins goes to another team, Sammy Watkins goes back into the abyss.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Andy Reid thing here.
A Chief.
Let me tell you who Sammy Watkins remind me of right now.
Who?
Dwayne Bowe.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because everybody keep forgetting how many weapons Kansas City had on the other side of Dwayne Bowe.
Yeah.
Dwayne Bowe is Dwayne Bowe. We all loved Dwayne Bowe. But let's be real.
Right.
The Kansas City uniform, mediocre.
So that's how I look at Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins is the new Dwayne Bowe for me.
Yep, I agree with that analogy totally.
So,
Click it.
With my deepest regards, Wilson and company are 4-0 for the first time since 2013 when they won the Super Bowl. Now, from a Dolphins standpoint, again, more good things. Played at a high level with a Super Bowl contending team, but quarterback play again is what killed us.
Are they
And
high level though?
they are. They are. Offensively,
Offensively,
the Seahawks are right there.
but defensively,
Defensively, they can get there. And
okay.
I say that because of what I saw this last weekend. They were able to take away those big plays where they had been hurt weeks before. And, they were getting chunked and chunked. They didn't give up the big play last week. Was that partly undue to Fitzpatrick? I'm sure. I went back myself, watched the tape. There was 3 or 4 different times easily where Fitz would drop back, make his first read, and just throw the ball. He wouldn't try to make his reads. He wouldn't go through progressions. If he, on a drop back, if instead of going to his check down underneath to a tight end, if he goes to the route that's pretty much called, the double on the outside of Jakeem Grant, he had the dude beat by 5 yards. Wide open, walk-in touchdown.
Sound like another quarterback I know, but we're not gonna go back to there.
We're not gonna go back.
I watched it 3 times, and there was another one where Mike Gesicki's wide open and running across the middle. He throws into double coverage.
And I like him.
I know.
I actually like Mike Gesicki.
He's a talented kid.
Yeah, he's on his way to being included in the number 2 tier of tight ends. I'm not gonna say number 1.
Right.
He's not there yet, but the number 2. The Tyler Higbees and the Hawkinson and the Rudolph.
The guys, if you sleep on them, they're gonna catch you.
Exactly. The Luke Wilsons. Those
They're gonna
guys.
catch you.
Right.
And he's in that category right now, and the only way is up. I like him. Honestly, I know you might say no, Zach, but honestly, I think it's time for them to play the kid.
We can't because we just lost Austin Jackson for long term.
I mean,
that's his blind side.
Yep.
You're absolutely right. But
well, not now. When Tua drops back, his blind side will be his right tackle.
Put Eric Flowers over there.
But here's what they were doing. Here's what the potential. I'm not sure what they're going to call yet. Obviously, we'll see tomorrow when the game starts. But we have a possibility of taking our right tackle, Jesse Davis, moving him to left tackle because he's played there. And they're talking about starting Robert Hunt, our rookie at right tackle, who I want to see. I've heard big things about this guy.
You put Eric Flowers over there.
Pick. Flowers is perfect where he is. You can't touch him. Flowers right now.
Oh, he's perfect.
Is one of the most highest rated offensive linemen on Miami's offensive line. The dude
I just
playing
don't see it.
flawless.
I just don't see it.
He is. I'm telling you.
I think the guys around him makes him that good. And
it's
from Washington's standpoint, let me tell you something. He's definitely not worth what you guys paid for him. But I'm glad that you guys have him. You guys signed him for one specific reason. You guys knew that you guys was getting Tua. Yep. That's just what it is.
Yep.
I'm not saying that he's bad.
He's gonna play well, and he is playing well in the system we have him in because of what you said. Yes, the guys around him, but also he kind of has a little bit of leadership there because he's not the youngest dude there.
That is true.
And he's fit in well with this group. Like him, Jackson, Ted Karras, which we brought in from the Patriots, who was with Brady for a while. Then obviously, you got Solomon Kinley, Jesse Davis. Before this terrible injury of Austin Jackson, this offensive line was just rated a top 10 line in the league, which is hilarious to me.
True.
So I'm happy to see it. But like I said, you can't – I think Jackson going down is why Tua isn't starting tomorrow. They didn't say it like that, but if you look at how everything came out, this injury has been a pretty bad injury from the sounds of it after last week, but they didn't announce it until Thursday, Friday, and that was a day after they announced Fitz being the guy. Monday was the quarterback kind of controversy, so to speak. But then they waited, and boom, Fitz is the guy. Oh, Austin Jackson's gone. It's kind of coincidental.
Well,
Right.
I'm going to jump back on the Wilson and company for
Yep,
the first
yep.
time. I mean, to the point, yes, offensively they're sound. I mean, they're number one in the NFL in red zone drives. They score on 86.7% of the time. So.
Oh wait! You said 86. They were 100% going in, but I got to give a shout out to my boy Xavier Howard for that end zone interception.
Definitely
Go ahead.
Getting back to what he does best. I think the one person that needs to be given some props is Mr. DK Metcalf.
Playing out of his mind.
He's number one in the NFL in yards per catch. He averages 25.2 yards per catch. So when he catches the ball, it's a big chunk of yards.
Dude's a monster.
Oh yeah, and he, then at this point, Russell Wilson has a completion percentage of 75%. 1,285 yards, 16 touchdown passes, 2 picks, no fumbles lost. 6 of those passes, by the way, have been touchdowns for 20-plus yards or more. So he's going deep and going deep often. The offense is playing well. The defense is honestly this. I feel like it's almost kind of what Kansas City's defense does, especially with the loss of Adams, having some secondary depletion at this point in Seattle hurts them, but they accent Russell Wilson just very nicely. Having Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright, two of the most underrated, but yet, in my opinion, 2 of the best linebackers in the game. Just playing at a high level still, and I think the Seahawks will continue to play at a high level. Their schedule gets a lot rougher, just like the 49ers and the Cardinals and the Rams. So it'll be interesting to see what the NFC West looks like here in 4 weeks.
Most definitely. Speaking of the 4 weeks here, what is the most surprising thing for you guys so far 4 weeks of the season? Jonah, I'm putting you on the spot. You've been quiet.
Let's go, Ace.
So far, the surprising thing for me is definitely Seattle still being undefeated. I love Russell Wilson, but I never saw this coming for me. He's playing lights out. Huge shocker to me. Huge. I mean, what'd you say? 16 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in 4 weeks?
Yep.
That's unreal. That is MVP numbers.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. A lot of people might say this is something that they're not used to seeing in Russell Wilson. I'm like, listen, and I think honestly, having Chris Carson there really does, make that, make that stock rise just a little bit higher too.
Yep.
What do you got, Albatross?
I'm gonna say the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, I think, are actually starting to have people beg the question of, is this a facade or have things changed? So, I don't know. I think at this point we know that there's weapons on that offense. There's no questioning that. It's whether or not Baker Mayfield's covering the seats in his stadium before a rainstorm, or if he's actually going to show up, and play a football game.
So very true. I like it. What do you got, CJ? What's your biggest surprise?
My biggest surprise was Dwayne Haskins getting benched. No, I'm joking. I'm totally joking. Totally joking.
I think someone's a little sour about that.
Biggest surprise was Josh Allen.
Yep.
There's been a lot of doubts with this kid, since he got drafted, and since the moment he's drafted up until now, he's just gotten better, and in just 4 weeks, despite the schedule that he had, with the teams that he's played, you know, his numbers just is up there. You know, his numbers just up there.
Yeah.
And right now, you know, I never seen a quarterback that young be, you know, well, I'm not going to say that young, you know, but I never seen a quarterback, you know, like Josh Allen, you know, who I never even thought of, you know, him being talked into the MVP race this quick,
Right.
you know, quicker than, you know, what you see with Lamar Jackson and, you know, Deshaun Watson, you know, those guys. So, you know, Josh Allen, I mean, he got my vote as far as right now. But the
Definitely.
MVPs we're voting right now, it'll definitely be between Russell Wilson and Josh Allen right now. They have stepped
Yeah.
up. And he's taken the role as a leader by storm. You know, even when they win games, you know, they like in his last press conference against Las Vegas, you know, they said, you know, you guys got the win, you know, how do you feel about it? And he said, well, you know, the game was great. You know, there's some plays that I didn't really like for myself. And, you know, I just wish I would have, you know, did something differently. But, you know, that just comes with, you know, playing week in and week out and getting better. And, you know, he's a leader.
Maturity.
Exactly. Maturity. You know, and you know, it's just right now he's just been a big surprise for me.
The kid wants to win. The kid wants to win.
He wants to win. He wants to be. He wants
he-
to be the Jim Kelly that everybody wanted Jim Kelly to be.
Yes.
You're right. Yes.
It's awesome. Like I said, I'm a Miami fan, but I have actually myself kind of enjoyed watching the Bills kind of get better, and this whole division really. I mean, unfortunately, the Jets are a dumpster fire at the moment for Gase, but
Right.
overall, the division and the AFC East is starting to look a lot better, a lot more competitive. Honestly, my biggest surprise, I would say, good. I mean, obviously, those are all good surprises. You guys kind of stole some things from me.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I'll say biggest surprise is, I mean, the 49ers not being right up there 3-1, 4-0 with the Seahawks. Obviously, it's due to the injuries, but I don't think we've seen the best from them yet. Obviously, we're going to see tomorrow. They're going to start probably clicking again. You get Jimmy back. You know, you got Debo back probably 100%. Brandon Ayuk still doing good. You got, you know, Kittle still reemerging. I think Mostert's returning. That's pretty much their whole offense.
Yeah. Just a quick.
Go ahead.
Just a quick update. This Alabama and the Ole Miss game is great right now. You know, it's 28-28. Mac Jones looks great.
Wow.
Yeah, he looks great. Not saying that he'll be the top guy, but right now
He's looking pretty good.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good.
What?
And also Najee Harris. Najee Harris looking good. You know, Heisman prediction. Najee Harris. You heard it from me. Roll Tide roll.
Right here on Saturday Night Sports, baby.
Mark it down.
Mark it down.
All right. You know, we're also going to mark down a couple other things, and that's who's on the hot seat. I've been kind of cautious to do this segment, but I think it's time. Obviously, we already had O'Brien getting taken out.
Listen, the biggest fact that Adam Gase still has a job before Bill O'Brien.
I know.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
I hear you.
I'm completely shocked. Like, yes. But the thing is, Bill O'Brien didn't have a really bad season last year.
Right.
But Adam Gase has just been, you know,
awful.
Yeah.
So, obviously, Adam Gase, you know, people are saying, you know, he is, he isn't. Is he on the hot seat or isn't he?
Yes.
Should be.
He's on the hottest seat ever. He's been on the hot seat since last year.
But
the coals are burning.
Let's see if the front office
will pull the trigger.
Leadership actually wants to make a decision between winning and Adam Gase.
True.
I mean, here's the thing: if he's not gone, well, it really depends. This week 5 is the week to show.
Yep.
Just have to win. If they don't win, and if they lose badly, this will be the view, whether or not, like you said, will it be the organization or will it be Adam Gase?
Yep.
And right now, if they have a very bad game again, you can't keep Adam Gase for another week.
Right.
It was
Yeah,
just like
Green just needs to cut it off.
it was just like I was saying with Jay Gruden. Jay Gruden shouldn't have lasted 6 weeks.
No.
He shouldn't have lasted 6 weeks.
All right. So Dan Quinn,
Yes,
Gone.
on the hot seat.
Get
Get him out of there.
get the coals roasting too on
I
that.
mean, hot.
So here's some interesting ones that were thrown at me here. Mike McCarthy.
Yes, yeah. I throw it on there. It's lukewarm right now, but you can definitely put that on there. Listen. It's no reason, right? How you can come back and you can beat the Falcons,
Right.
but you can't close out with the Browns. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
They didn't even really show up, let's be honest, until like the fourth quarter.
Right.
You're absolutely right.
And then Dak Prescott pretty much was just like,
Dak Prescott did exactly what he did against the Seahawks.
What he's been doing for the past year and a half. And then a guy taking a salary or a franchise tag, which is just pretty much a slap in the face for a guy who just destroyed a bunch of Cowboy records that year. I think Dak Prescott's underappreciated in that offense. I think Mike McCarthy, unfortunately, back to the original topic, is past his the game's past him. I don't think he's the right coaching fit for that team. I think he's lucky that he has Jerry Jones as the owner, because Jerry Jones won't make the right decision anyway.
And the craziest thing is that when you look at the Cowboys and you see Mike McCarthy there, right? It's like, like you said, it's not the team for him. And I think honestly, he needs to go to Atlanta. I think Atlanta might be the juice for both of those guys, for both the team and Mike McCarthy to merge. Especially the type of scheme that Mike McCarthy, likes to run. You have those guys there.
I can see that.
Mark McCarthy, he never knew how to utilize 3 wide receivers all at once. Even in Green Bay, he never knew how to utilize Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, Donald Driver. He never knew how to utilize those guys all at once. And you can see it. You can see it when one game you have Cooper and Gallup, then another game you got Gallup and CeeDee Lamb, and then another game you got Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. It's never all in one.
Right.
And in order for you to win games, you got to get those guys that you went out your way to get.
Yep.
You got to get them involved.
100%. All right. So here's the last one. This is going to be fun.
This one's good for you, CJ.
Ron Rivera.
Yes, sir. Ron Rivera.
No, Ron Rivera is not on the hot seat, and here's why. Trust me, I've heard the same thing all week. And here's the thing: Ron Rivera is not on the hot seat for 3 reasons. 1, you gave this guy the total leeway to do whatever he needs to do to get this team back on track.
Yep.
And since then, he has done it. Oh, because he benched your golden boy? No. Forget all that.
Shows he has a backbone.
Exactly.
Yep.
Ron Rivera has what a lot of these other coaches who came before him
Don't have.
Before Joe, and that stops at Joe Gibbs.
Yep.
But when you look at Joe Gibbs and the coaches that you had up until Ron Rivera, nobody had a backbone. Well, like I said, Shanahan had a backbone, right?
Right.
But he didn't have an aggressive backbone as he had in Denver.
No.
He didn't have that same aggressive backbone.
Yeah, that was
and Exactly. And he didn't have that mentality saying, "Oh, well, if you're gonna have me, I need to do things my way and my way only."
Right.
Dan Snyder was like, "Okay, well, that's just not how it's gonna happen." He went to Ron Rivera in the offseason and he said, "Hey, I want you here. You don't have anywhere else to go. I want you here." And Ron Rivera was like, "Well, look, I see what the culture's like here, and if I'm going to be here, things need to change."
It's true.
And before he even went to before Dan Snyder even talked to him, and before he even thought about taking the job, he went to go talk to Joe Gibbs, to get some advice. Hey, is this organization the right one for me? And Joe Gibbs just gave him a rundown. He said, "Hey, look, this organization is only going to be what you make it."
Right.
True.
And since then, he's been great with it. Me personally, I would have did some things differently in the off season as far as with the offensive lineman, but he sees things differently. And I like what he said in the post in not the post game, but in the middle of the week is, "Hey, I have my ways of coaching. If you don't like it, then that's normal. That's normal. I'm not going to please everybody.
Nope.
Yep.
I'm just here to do my job as the coach here and to change
Get
how
it
things
done.
has been running there.
100%.
And look, I'm sold. And you don't have to tell me anything else.
Yep.
You don't have to tell me anything else. And that's what a lot of these fans got. These Washington fans. It's just they complain about how many head coaches and quarterbacks they've had, but then on another side of the note, it's like, "Oh, I don't like him. Get rid of him." After one bad game, "Oh, I don't like him. Get rid of him." I don't like the coach. Get rid of him. They're saying get rid of Scott Turner. I'm like, guys, everything is just still molding together.
Right.
Everything is still coming together.
Takes
Everything is
time.
not going to be perfect. It just takes time.
That's what I'm trying to tell people with Miami. So I totally understand you. The whole
Yeah,
Flores era and
even
everything
even
doesn't
with San
change it at
Fran,
all.
even with San Fran, when John Lynch was there as the general manager, and then brought in
Yep.
Kyle Shanahan. Things didn't come together as quickly as it's supposed to be.
No.
But then after a while, things came together.
Right.
And despite Shanahan not being able to win those games when it mattered in the playoffs, but things just came together. And
Right.
it just took time, and it's just going to take time for this to build.
Hey,
Right.
But back to the hot seat. One of the hot seats that I have right now, you guys probably never is going to guess it, but I'm going to say Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio. I think I think right now it's just it'd be best
bless you.
for Fangio to part ways with the organization. I don't think he's the right fit for the quarterbacks that he has and the team that he has. I don't think he's necessarily done enough to put this team in the situation to win games, and as great of a dynasty that the Broncos are. And it's just one of those things where you got to look at it. What's in the best interest for your team. Here it is. You at your third quarterback, and you haven't done anything to protect this kid. You know what I'm saying? You haven't made any adjustments to your offensive line. You have Von Miller out there. By himself. It's just bad. It's just bad all around. And you shipped off one of your best cornerbacks, and one of your best cornerbacks. You ship them off, and you don't have anything to answer for it, and it sucks because I like Jerry Jeudy, and I just hope that, you know, he can get better, despite the quarterback controversy that he has.
I would agree to an extent that there's a controversy in Denver, but I don't think it's with. I think it's with the guy who's running the whole show. I think it's time for John to figure out that it's time for him to pack up and go sell some cars. I don't know.
100%.
Yeah, you know what? And I agree with you on that one. I think John Elway needs to go too.
Yep. I think Denver just needs to make the change. And here's the ironic part is when they won that bidding war for Peyton Manning over for San Francisco that year when he decided to go to Denver. Everybody knew when Peyton Manning left, Denver was going to go back into the dumpster.
Yep.
I mean, let's be honest. That's the reason why they were where they were, because Peyton Manning could read a defense better than most people can read books. I mean,
True.
he's ridiculous. He was just a phenom at that. So I think Denver's just seeing the growing pains of not having the right front office together to deal with it.
For sure. So we're just going to keep it going here. We got a couple things left. We're going to touch on something interesting. Winless, undefeated. We got a couple people looking to get their first win of the season, and we got a couple people looking to catch their first L. So we'll start with the winless ones. We got the Jets at 0-4, the Texans 0-4, the Giants 0-4, the Falcons 0-4. Who gets their first win?
Let's see. Let me look at the schedule one more time. Look at the NFL schedule. Because that's really gonna determine who I pick.
Without me even looking at schedules, I'm gonna go with the Texans, just for the simple fact that we're gonna just simplify this down to the hardest position on the football field, and they have Deshaun Watson. So I feel like they have the strongest quarterback out of those three teams. I'm going with the Texans to find their way to that first W.
Okay, so all right, this is where I'm going with it. Okay, and I have to throw out two scenarios. Okay, first scenario is looking at the Texans and the Jaguars. And I said this last week. When they were playing the Vikings. This is the time for the Texans to step out and actually win a game. But I think now with Bill O'Brien, being fired, and Romeo getting to step up, it could be some changes, and like you said, this could be a whole new lead for Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, can be the Deshaun Watson that we all know and love. And this can be his time to actually get a win, and this can help the Texans season blossom. From going 0-4 to possibly 12-4. Who knows? That's
Right.
saying that they can win 12 games, back to back. Look, it can happen. We've seen it happen before with the Patriots. So that's one thing. Another situation, the Giants. Here's the thing. And a lot of people say, "Oh, that's crazy. You got the Giants beating the Cowboys." Yes. Here's why. The Cowboys have always had this thing where, for some reason, they always struggle their first game against the Giants in the season.
Always.
They always struggle.
Yep.
And I think this can be the game, where Daniel Jones steps out and be what everybody hopes that Daniel Jones can become. With Golden Tate there, and you have Slayton. Those two guys just alone, with the issues in the secondary with Dallas right now. I don't see them actually being. It's going to be hard for them to having to contain those two wide receivers, and not alone having Ingram there as the tight end. It's a lot of things right there that shows that the Giants can win, and then now having Devontae Freeman also in the mix with that running back company. Can the Cowboys stop the run game?
Right.
Can they actually stop the run game? And this is going to be something to watch. So I will have my eyes on this. So I have the Giants beating the Cowboys as my overall upset right now. Well, not really upset because both teams suck, but but as far as what everybody else thinks the Cowboys can beat the Giants, I have the Giants beating the Cowboys.
I like it.
We got. What do you got, Ace? Come on.
So I do agree that Houston's going to get their first win this weekend, but I also believe that the Jets are going to get their first win this weekend.
Ooh.
playing Arizona. Darnold hasn't necessarily played well. I think he's going to play well against Arizona. Gase being on the hot seat. He needs to get his first win. I think it's going to be against this Arizona team.
I don't think they can win out the gates. This
I
is
don't
me
know.
personally.
You get Le'Veon Bell back. That'll help open the game.
That-
Is he back this week?
That's another
He
huge
is.
thing.
He was
Active.
activated.
He's
on
active.
IR.
Oh, okay.
That's going to be a big thing. Le'Veon Bell comes back.
I say Jets stun the Cardinals in an upset of the week, and Texans get back on track this week.
Ooh, big predictions. We'll come back to those next week.
We certainly will. You better write them down. Oh.
All right.
Okay, so back to the undefeated. We got the Buffalo Bills, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Tennessee Titans, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Green Bay Packers, and the Seattle Seahawks. Who's staying undefeated? Who's losing first?
Bills is going to lose first. The Titans right now are upset. Well, they can't be upset but nobody but themselves. But the Titans are, they got a chip on their shoulder because, their bye week came earlier than was expected. And so that gave them a lot of rest, a lot of rest and preparation for this game right here. And, I just think that, the Titans is going to do whatever they can. And this will be the actual challenge for the Bills because the Titans is winless too. The Titans are winless.
I thought the Bills were playing the Chiefs this week.
Nope,
Yeah.
they're playing the Titans.
Huh.
Chiefs play Vegas this weekend.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So the following weekend.
Okay, I like it. Ooh. Where's it at? Tennessee or Buffalo?
Tennessee, I believe. Tennessee.
I believe it is.
Yeah, I'll give Tennessee that, honestly. Tannehill knows how to beat Buffalo. He's done it a time or two in his career. Honestly, I'm going to say upset prediction that no one thought was going to happen. Are you ready for this? I don't think you guys are ready for it.
I think I know where he's going with this.
Raiders upset Chiefs tomorrow. Let's go.
My man. Love it. I agree.
I don't
They're
know.
in Vegas.
Yep.
The Raiders are hot. Even though they just lost, they're still hot.
They lost 2 in a row.
I don't care.
The only thing that's hot is the temperature outside of the stadium.
And that's perfectly fine. They're in air conditioning.
Okay? I'm telling you.
All
right.
Anybody
But
else?
They're gonna get some. We're gonna try to do the whole strip sack fumble. Not gonna happen. Raiders are probably
That's
gonna
Tuck
get one.
rule.
Yeah, so I think unfortunately the Las Vegas Raiders are going to continue to tank, and unfortunately Raider Nation is
Tank
still
for
hurting in
Trevor.
Oakland. And
Say, are we going to tank for Trevor? Because if so, I'm all aboard.
I'm on board.
I love Trevor Lawrence. Let's bring him to Vegas.
So I don't know.
Another day.
Who am I? I'm going to go with the Titans to take the first loss. I think the COVID test inconsistent schedule changing around. I feel like that's going to bother a lot of players. I feel like there's just some things that just need to be consistent in a football player's life, and I feel like the inconsistencies are going to hurt the Titans. So I think the Titans are going to take the first loss out of all the undefeateds.
I like it. All right. So, getting back at it, we're going to transition into what is our last segment of the day, fellas. What I like to call Fact or Fiction. So, we're going to start it off the right way. Is Kansas City still the team to beat? Fact or fiction?
Fiction.
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 That's a hard fact. It's an iffy fact, and it's one of those things where it really depends on what team is there that they have that has to beat them. You know, you can't say the Ravens because they totally dismembered the Ravens offense. But I'll say you need a team like the Browns or the Seahawks to step up. So are they the team to beat? Right now, it's a fact. Until the team can come through and knock them off their high horse, then they're the Super Bowl champs. Then that's just what it is. They're the Super Bowl champs, and they right now they're making a statement to why they are the Super Bowl champs.
All right, we'll go with it. I think we'll go with it.
Fiction. They haven't played anybody. They won't play anybody.
Uh-oh.
No.
Easiest schedule in the league says it's fiction.
Yeah, I think their schedule is not really helping the fact here. But it's what happens when you're the Super Bowl champions. It was
I guess
easy.
we'll find out.
It
All
was easy.
right. So then, we're going to keep it in the same game. Culture change in Las Vegas? Fact or fiction?
Fiction.
Fact.
Fiction.
I'm sorry. I don't have any faith right now in John Gruden. I just think that the players there wants to play and they want to win. I don't think it has anything to do with John Gruden. I think John Gruden is still the same guy that allowed, players, key players to leave. So
Didn't allow it. He's the one who sent him away.
He forced it.
yeah,
He pulled the trigger.
He sent them away. Those players didn't leave. He kicked them out.
exactly. Pretty
That's
much.
funny.
Honestly, right now, I mean, here's the thing. Is the culture going to change? I don't think so. But I like John Gruden coaching. I just don't think, like I said, he doesn't have the backbone like he used to have in Tampa Bay.
Here it is. You ready? It's a fact. You know why? They're beating the Chiefs tomorrow.
Oh, no, it's total
Fact.
fiction. It's total fiction. The Raiders, unfortunately, lost their way. Come on. It was one if by land, two if by sea. They're supposed to be Pirates. They were in Oakland. Now they're in Vegas in the desert. Then they have this pretty little fire at the end of their stadium. They're lost. They're lost. They're lost. It's done.
Oh, all right. Into the next. Foles and the Bears a better fit than Trubisky and the Bears.
No.
Fact.
Fiction.
Fact. I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing, right?
Here's the thing. Foles wins.
There you go.
Beats Tom Brady.
Yeah,
True.
and another thing about Foles is, like you said, Foles wants to win, man. Foles wants to win. When they bench Trubisky, everybody's like, "Oh, Nick Foles is not gonna. It's not gonna. It's Nick Foles." And Nick Foles is like, "Hey, I'm Nick freaking Foles, okay?
Right? For real.
I won a Super Bowl. Put some respect on my name."
It's true.
What?
Man.
He knocked off
True.
Tom Brady.
It's completely
Give that W.
fiction. It's
Give that
completely fiction. The Bears defense did the hard work. Nick Foles showed up and played for like a minute and 48 seconds. He is
And won the game.
He's as streaky as the dirty pair of underwear on the bottom side of the hamper. And until he figures out how to get it out of there and play consistent, the Chicago Bears are going to be dreaded just like they were when they lost in the Super Bowl to Peyton Manning, to have a team that has a really good defense and a subpar offense.
So
But Nick Foles can win titles.
there's only 4 quarterbacks.
Not as a starter,
There's only 4 quarterbacks.
He did start the Super Bowl though.
4
There's only-
quarterbacks.
Starter.
but he got the job because of a default injury.
There's only
Wentz was injured.
4 quarterbacks.
Either way, he still has more titles.
There's only
Okay.
4 quarterbacks that Tom Brady hasn't beaten.
Go ahead.
Say that?
Nick Foles is one.
There's only 4 quarterbacks that Tom Brady hasn't beaten yet. and
Right.
Nick Foles is one of them.
Right.
He is. Nick Foles is 2-0
Right.
So,
against
my
Tom
good
Brady.
friend,
Hard facts. Hard facts. All right, let's get back into it.
Fiction.
I give that
So, Cam Newton, Cam Newton still Superman.
Yes. Fact.
Facts.
would you
Fact.
He's
He
froze.
froze on the most weirdest face I've
I
ever seen.
know. I love it.
Cam Newton is still Superman. After the Kansas City Patriots game, he has my respect.
Jimmy G underappreciated. Fact or fiction?
Fact.
Facts.
I think tomorrow is going to show hard facts.
Hard facts. It's gonna be like, Dateline.
Please have a seat.
Sorry, my computer died.
Okay. We
So-
were frozen in time there.
So Jimmy G, is Jimmy G underappreciated?
Let me tell you who's
Oh, it's a
underappreciated.
fiction.
You want to know? You want to know who's
It's fact or
underappreciated?
fiction.
You want to know who I think is underappreciated? That's what I'm saying, friend.
Dwayne Haskins.
Jimmy G's lower body.
Lower body.
What?
Isn't this like what, third time injuring something on his lower body?
No, second.
Second, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He's not underappreciated. He just can't stay healthy.
But he was healthy all last year and took him to the Super Bowl.
How did that end up?
That
How did
defense took him to the Super Bowl.
How did it end up? How did it end up? I think
All right.
we all are well aware of what was what we were all
It was the Falcons game, right?
It was the
We can all
Falcons.
realize that.
We all know the lies we were fed. All right, here we go. And
And
the last-
Reid one piece on his history to show he was a good head coach.
Well, here it
I
is.
mean,
The
just
last.
like they handed Ray Lewis a
take.
championship, you got to hand one to Andy Reid. Come on.
True.
The Chiefs
True.
trash.
Fact.
I'm gonna say.
Fact. Anyway. So the last headliner here on our last debut of Fact or Fiction is: are the Miami Dolphins better than their 1-3 record?
Facts.
Fiction. Fiction. I'm sorry.
CJ's just waiting for it.
Yeah.
CJ's just that typical narrative guy, you know. He just likes to go with the narrative.
No,
He has hope
it's
for
not-
Washington,
it's
but
not-
he doesn't
it's
have
not-
hope for Miami.
No. Here's the thing, right? I like where Miami is headed. I like their defense. But
I like my defense too. I think here's the thing. You guys just need to pay attention to the bird's nest that's coming on next.
I just have
You know,
no faith.
Scores from
I have-
last year
I have
compared
no
to this
faith.
year against the same teams they've played.
I have no
played.
faith in their offense right now.
Yep.
That's just me.
Well,
I
and
have
I agree.
more faith in their defense than I have in their offense right now. And
I agree.
It
It's
should be
more-
the other way.
and
Or
that's
50-50 at
Fitzpatrick,
least.
and that has to do with Fitzpatrick. Again, if you go back and look at
It
the
has to
tape,
do with the running game too.
he missed so many throws. Honestly, if he would have completed more of those throws, we would have been able to run more. Myles Gaskin for his 4.6 yards a carry right now is pretty damn good for that offense. They just need to run more. It's sad because it's not really a run-centric team with it being a spread offense.
Because I was sure about to say you can have 4.4 yards per carry. And you know who else got 4.4 yards per carry? And that's Antonio Gibson. But the running game just hasn't been produced.
Right. Oh, I get it.
You know?
I hear you. What do you got, Albatross?
I'm just listening. It's just, I don't know. I think there's fact in there. I feel like the Dolphins team is more talented, and you can see it. There's more talent on the field.
I think they can win.
They just have to continue to funnel being a better team. Take out the stupid plays. Just do their job.
Right. 100%.
So
Well,
who's the quarterback this weekend
Fitzpatrick,
for San Fran?
Should be
Jimmy
two.
G.
Underappreciated.
Oh, Jimmy G's back.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
And underappreciated back to get the W.
so what happens if he doesn't win?
Then he's not underappreciated.
So you turn that fact into a fiction, right?
Correct.
Honestly, I think when you look at it, it doesn't really matter what he does at this point because he's proven one thing. He wins.
Where?
Where? I mean, he's definitely won.
20-4 as a starter.
I mean, he's won, let's see, his first healthy season takes us to the Super Bowl definitely prematurely.
One healthy
should have not
season.
been in the Super Bowl. We were playing against the Chiefs team who had been fiddle-faddle around in the AFC Championship. Didn't know what to eat their Wheaties or if they wanted Cheerios in their bowl. And then we get this wonderful, splendid moment where the NFL had a heartbreak moment and didn't want to look like a bunch of fools. And
Where
have
did
the
you get this
Packers
guy
and the
from,
Chiefs-
yo? I like him.
And have the Packers and the Chiefs in the 100 year of the NFL. I mean, the NFL would have looked like a total goat.
It
It
was
would look like a total donkey at this point if they would have had a Chiefs-Packers Super Bowl. So, unfortunately, I had to witness, the 49ers be a stepping stone of crap. But that's okay. Things change, and I think people will continue to talk negatively about Jimmy G. And it's just, when you have 5 Super Bowls, a lot of teams want those.
I don't think Jimmy G's bad. It's just
No.
I can't rely on a quarterback who only has played one full season since he's had his match.
And he's gone.
And he's gone again, folks.
I think Jimmy G just isn't given the time and day. He's in a 49ers uniform. Unfortunately, people are like, "Oh, you're no Joe Montana. You're no Steve."
That is
Jones."
exactly any quarterback that has came on after Joe Montana. That is exactly what my mom has said because she's a 49ers fan as well.
Yep.
And that's exactly what she has said. Other than Steve Young, she likes Steve Young as well.
Of course.
But after that, especially when Kaepernick went to the Super Bowl and lost, and now Jimmy G has been to the Super Bowl and lost. She's like, Joe Montana never lost.
Right.
Steve Young never lost.
Right. No,
Well, okay, she does like Jimmy G though, but that's
Right.
because of his looks, not because of how he
right.
plays.
Yeah. Jimmy G. She likes
Shout out to
Jimmy
my
G.
mom.
Jimmy G. Right. I get it. No, I think unfortunately the 49ers are forever tarnished by the ridiculously high standards they had set. I mean, think about it. Prior to the loss with Kaepernick and Alex Smith as the duo at quarterback, the
49ers for that team.
they were the only team that had never lost in a Super Bowl. So, I mean,
Yeah.
the biggest stage without a single loss.
Yep.
They were the first franchise.
With how many
team.
times they've been there.
Yeah,
You gotta throw that in there too.
They went 5. They won 5. It was perfect.
Yep.
It was a perfect record, and they were the
Yep.
first franchise to ever have 5 Lombardi trophies. So,
Yep.
unfortunately, there's a lot of
Oh yeah.
negativity, negative narratives that come around the team because of past winnings. I think Jimmy G's just fine. I feel that there
Me
was.
too.
I feel there was just a lot of stupid moves in the Super Bowl. I think you should have just stuck to what you're good at. I mean, come on, you have defenders on the Chiefs side saying if the 49ers continue to run the ball, we lose the game. You just
Yep.
run the ball. You run the ball. You don't have to sit here and worry about throwing the ball. I watched us lose a Super Bowl by throwing the ball to Michael
Yep.
Crabtree 3 times in the same spot. So,
Yep.
I don't know. I think Jimmy G is underappreciated. Just look at the Jets game. He gets, shot low, messes up his ankle, and he wills his way through that game and assures us the victory.
Yep.
So,
I agree.
I like it. I like it all. Well, guys, I appreciate you and Jonah, Ace, and CJ from the Hog Side joining us.
Yes.
We'll go ahead and get you guys on out of here for this evening. We'll look for you maybe on the special Thursday night edition here this next week. Maybe we'll get you on there, If
Yep.
not, we'll look you for you next Saturday. Thank you for jumping on, and go Lakers.
See you guys.
Everybody. You know what time it is.
Closing times. Oh, no. But in all realness, it is time for the bird's nest. And the bird's
But
nest today starts with
This is a special bird's nest. Yeah.
right there.
This
That's
is
the
a
bird's nest.
This is a special bird's nest. We got a 49ers Dolphins edition of the bird's nest.
You're gonna
So-
lose. End of the discussion. Bye. Oh,
Right.
kidding.
No, yeah, right. You're right.
no.
Let's go.
Honestly, I'm excited. Honestly, not necessarily for my offense. I'm not going to be excited for my offense until Fitzpatrick is off the field.
Right. There
Jeez, too many
you
F's there.
go.
But yeah, I'm like I said, the tape last week, watching him, the dude's just missing throws. He's missing open receivers. He's not making his reads, going through progressions. He's just losing us the game. He's not giving us the best chance to win. I think Austin Jackson being out was why we don't have Tua starting this week. That line was a top 10 line in the league going into this week. You lose the left tackle. You have to mix and match. You don't know what you're going to get. So the last thing you do is insert, your potential franchise cornerstone and have him getting beat up, week 4, week 5
Yep.
with, again, a messed up line, Everything was trending in the right direction for him to start, and then you have that. So I'm not necessarily happy for the offense. I'm not really looking forward to it. Hopefully Matt Breida has a nice game tomorrow. We'll
Right.
see. I mean, that's just how history works sometimes.
Yep.
What I'm more interested to see is this defense. We're not going to have Shaq Lawson tomorrow, so that's going to hurt. We obviously just have Emmanuel Aguilar, so we got to find some other way to get some pass rush. But we're going to have Byron Jones playing for the first time with Xavier Howard opposite of each other. I'm excited. I'm curious to see how that's going to go. We've been waiting all year to see it. Here we go. And tomorrow's the day that the pass offense either improves and we see it be, or the defense, pass defense, we see them be what they're supposed to be. And we actually kind of give you guys some fits with, the weapons you guys have, or you guys are going to have a heyday, run all over it because Fitzpatrick can't move the ball.
Yeah, I mean, well, to the point that you just said about your secondary, teams average 9.2 yards per pass attempt, like your yardage per pass attempt against the Dolphins, and that's the highest rate in the NFL.
Yeah.
So, I mean, teams attack you guys, and they
Yep.
get almost 10 yards per attack.
Yep.
So definitely seeing a little bit of shoring up on the backside of that defense would definitely be a glimmer of hope for Dolphins fans.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm excited. You got two, in my opinion, two really, really solid cornerbacks that the Niners wide receivers have to go against. So it'll be nice seeing Ayuk and Debo getting some good work in against some really good, good corners. The other thing that I thought was really, really interesting about the Eagles game and why the 49ers ended up walking out of there with the losses, we had 3 turnovers versus the Eagles in one game. But you revert to 2019, we had 3 turnovers in our first 5 games.
Yep,
So-
pretty good.
You're talking, again, just being reckless with the ball. And unfortunately, that's what Mullins is. He's reckless with the ball. He's a gambler. You're going to have great plays. You're going to have horribly tragic plays.
Right.
So that's unfortunately the dice you roll with him. The part also that I think a lot of people aren't talking about is, Parker had 10 catches, career high, 110 yards in a loss. I think the kid's showing consistency week in and week out, getting healthy, working through the injury bug. So, the cornerbacks for the Niners are going to have their hands full as long as they figure out how to corral Parker. I think that'll help the defense slow the offense down, definitely. So
I just don't believe in Fitzpatrick anymore. I liked Fitzmagic. I was believing in him here and there. I don't see it. After fallen so flat last week. Like, I thought it was Seattle playing good defense. It wasn't even Seattle playing good defense. It was just Fitz playing terrible football.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
if you just
two picks,
make
and
your
three went through KJ Wright's hands. So I mean,
Yep.
he could have had 5 picks in that game.
easy, which is gross.
Tape, and that's
Which
horrible.
is gross.
But the bright light that does shine upon Fitz is his passer rating to Devonta Parker. Now maybe Parker is helping him, obviously, with his catches.
Oh,
He has a passer rating of 118.2 when targeting Parker, but when targeting anyone else,
Yep.
74.1 passer rating. I mean,
Yep.
complete fall off. You're just dropping off a cliff.
Oh, yeah.
So I think Fitzpatrick, if you're going to Parker, he's doing well.
Yep.
Gesicki's been bailing him out with some absolutely amazing catches and play. And on the tight end, the opposite tight end for the 49ers comes back last week, 15-plus receptions in a game. Only 3 players in 49ers history have ever done this. One being Terrell Owens in the year 2000, and the other being the greatest wide receiver to ever touch the football field, Jerry Rice, in 1994.
Yep.
So George is back. George is back, baby, and I think George is ready to roll. I think the offense is going to play well. Our yards per game, we get 390 yards per game. We've had 2 games without Jimmy G. We've had games without George Kittle, and we're still ranked 11th best in the NFL. The Miami Dolphins ranked 23rd at 347 yards per game. The big difference, and I think where we're really going to see the huge part, is the opposition for the Dolphins have averaged almost 410 yards per game against that D. And then you go on the 49ers side, we're ranked actually 3rd in the NFL, and we only allow 294 yards per game.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting. Both teams aren't penalized very high. 16 for the Dolphins, 22 for the 49ers. Both teams play smart. I think it's just going to come down to individual play. Like you said, if Fitzpatrick wants to come out and play a game, I think the Dolphins may have a good bit of offense, but we'll see. We'll see what's either it's Fitz magic or Fitz tragic.
If Fitz shows up tomorrow, it'll be a good game. If Fitz doesn't show up, it's going to be me deciding if I want to turn the game off at half.
We can't do that. We'll watch the whole thing.
Oh, I'll turn it off. I got other things to do.
No, I'll take you.
No, but that's how I feel though. Like, I feel like the offense has to show up and be able to compete and put numbers up. I feel like it's like we were talking about in the show. You have these defenses that complement high-powered offenses, right? Or if they put up enough points, they manage the game and get the stops. I think that's what you're going to see tomorrow. You're going to have San Francisco either making that play that ultimately wins the game, or Miami making a series of plays that maybe switches momentum throughout the game that gives them a chance to win.
Exactly.
I think the reason why I'm not listening to the numbers defensively right now with passing and all that is because everyone was attacking our rookie corner.
Yep.
Of course, those numbers are going to be inflated. Right. Of course, we're going to be giving up tons of yardage in the passing game when you have a rookie who's giving up, all that every game. It's not to say he's bad. It's just they're going after him. Well, you're not going to try to throw at Xavier Howard every time if you have a rookie on the other side.
Well, Igbenogany was traveling, whereas Howard was not. So you had a rookie playing in his second game, first game, third game, fourth game, chasing down guys who have been doing this for multiple years, understand the game and route running, but yet he was still a couple of feet away from making these plays. So I think you have a lot to be happy with Igbenogany.
Right. So that's also why I'm excited for Byron to come back. I'm excited to see him play. I'm excited to see if he's going to be that complement to Xavier Howard. If this is really going to be the shutdown duo that we just invested in. Right. It really, in my mind, if they can do it tomorrow, think about this. Miami, we come out, we put together a solid game. We hold you guys to 17 points. You guys beat us 17-10.
That's a victory for you.
that puts that defense in perspective of we can hang with anybody.
Yeah.
Because the 49ers, when they got Garoppolo and George Kittle and Mostert, and when you guys have your weapons, that's one of the most high-powered offenses in the league.
Yep.
So
Can be.
being able to hold them down, if they can do that, huge victory. Huge. So that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see moving forward. I want to see this team. I hate saying emotional victories, if that's what you want to put it.
Right.
But we need to see this team start to put things together and they need to start clicking.
Yep.
And I think we are, but I think it needs to go even a step past that. You know, we need to see these guys. I compliment you here. I compliment you there. You know, Jones, Howard, you know, we had the line start to come together. You see Jerome Baker playing just crazy all over the field.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you know, a lot of things are clicking, but now on the offense, again, Fitz magic, Fitz tragic. I don't know.
Roll the dice.
Who
baby.
knows? Maybe Jimmy G comes out. Maybe he kind of has a little bit of a rusty start.
Right. And it's a possibility.
There's it's going to be interesting things. I'm curious. I'm ready. Obviously, we'll be ready to go. We'll be locked in for we have a 3:05, I think, tomorrow.
Yep.
So 3:05 start. I'm ready for that for sure. So that's what I got. I think if we're making predictions, I've already said, you know, I feel like we're going to lose. But if we do pull out the victory, I think it's going to be low scoring, like I said. I think if we win, it'll be like 2017.
Yeah, it'll be a low scoring knockout dragout game.
Yep. 49ers win. I think it'll be like 34-24.
Yep. Like a double digit win.
Yep. You guys are favored by like 8.5.
Yeah, 8.5 or 9, I think I saw you.
Yep. So I'll deal with it. I think we'll be close to spotting the 8.5 if we lose, if not even just a touchdown.
Yep. Hey, I just hope the miners are turning in their mining and ready to go fishing. We need to catch some bass.
Yeah, we got our dynamite set up for you. Don't worry.
There you go.
So, but yeah, heck yeah, I think we had a great night tonight on Saturday Night Live. I appreciate everyone joining us on this awesome sports talk show we try to do every week. We're here every Saturday, 7 p.m. Central Time, and we also have our SNS special every Thursday before the Thursday night game. Go ahead and give us a tune. We appreciate you guys. You guys have a wonderful evening. We'll look for you guys next week.
Good night, guys.